Here we go, my man Murls, the arm dog. It's Chiclets Game Notes, Trade Deadline Extravaganza. The boys have the suits on. Murls is stateside. He's boots on the ground, tracking every move, every game, every parlay. He's dialed right in. He did his hair. You got a little shave there? You got a little shadow?
Yep. Cleaned it up a little bit.
Clean her up. Yeah, he looking good. We threw the suits on because this is big stuff today. We got you right now from 1 o'clock live all the way up until the end of the trade deadline. And maybe we'll hang around after. I'm not sure, for some peripheral trades that come in on the queue. The queue as they stack up in the queue, man.
The other word was even bigger. What was that?
Extravaganza?
On the peripheral or something?
Peripheral, out in the outsides.
Peripheral
vision. Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
purposely was looking down on my phone to look like a true insider when I came on there, even though I have zero credibility right now after Pettersson did not get dealt. Did not move on as I predicted.
Buddy, that was the start of it, though. That was the whole start of everything, getting the ball rolling for Petey, getting the deal done that he wanted. You put the pressure on the Canucks. The buzz was out. We heard talking to Biz at the All-Star game. You were there too on the vlog that came out, saying, "Oh boy, what are you saying? What's going on here?" So, that did it. And there's no question that was something. That was something. And I'll be hanging in there. The chat is alive though, Murls. I saw Jazz is in the chat. TNT stat guy. Singsy's in here. Singsy's running the chat, the captain of the chat. Today, during the trade deadline extravaganza here on Chiclets Game Notes, we will have guests popping in continuously throughout this show, random celebrities and faces from around the hockey world that we love to interact with and talk to, just great people. G, our producer on the is manning the lines, running the show. He's gonna pop in, get a look at this guy. He is just slicked back mustache. I love it.
It's the Game Notes Deadline Extravaganza, baby. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to have a day. Any trades come in, I'm breaking them.
I got the Ozempic daddy in the chat here. He's calling me Ozempic daddy. I'm down 13 pounds. Thanks for noticing. No,
wow.
No Ozempic. My shirts are fitting way better. I might be tarps off this summer, boys. It might be tarps off at the golf club membership pool, ritzy pool. I probably swim with my suit on. It's so high end, big deal. I might be tarps off though. G, you're looking amazing. Murls, you're looking amazing. I'm fired up. Like everything's happening. G, what do we got some good guests lined up. You'll be running that. Apuzzo's working the ticker. We're gonna have trades coming to you when we get them.
Why don't you guys, do you guys want to bring in our first guest here?
Let's do it. And boom. Oh, no, it's loading.
Hey.
Boom.
Wow.
There they are.
Hey, boys.
Wow. Brothers. I love it. Empty Netters are with us. If you follow them, great job. Amazing entertainment. Awesome hockey takes. Oh, we got them there. We need them in that box right there. I love it. You're welcome, chat. We got some of the prettiest faces in hockey with us as well here today with the Powers brothers. Boys, what are you making of the lead up to the deadline? What are you making of today? Been kind of exciting, but who caught your eye?
I think we're in a calm before the storm here. I mean, Wednesday was insane. Felt like every GM just decided to pull the trigger midway through the week, and I love that because we love chaos around here. But I got eyes on some names still. I think Buchnevich is a big one that I'm keeping my eyes peeled on. I know people are still sniffing around Vetrano. I think we're going to see some fireworks for sure.
And if a goalie doesn't move, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Because Murls, like you, I staked my reputation on some goalie movement today. And I'm going to have to fold the pod if one doesn't go.
I'm still waiting on Jake Allen to go to Colorado. They've made every other move this year except getting a goalie that I thought I had the scoop on, but we'll see what happens.
It just feels like there's still big ones to go. Yeah, and of all the positions that could change a playoff run, come on, boys.
And boys, I know the conversation around goaltending has been huge this year for a lot of teams that are pretty significant, but there's been holes there. And I'm kind of surprised that the goalie market hasn't really bumped. Like, what was the deal? Like Spencer Martin was like one of the only goalies that has been moved right now. There hasn't been too much. The Markstrom stuff got us buzzing, but there hasn't been really anything as far as budging for goaltenders right now, when it was literally, it's been the hottest topic, I think, for a lot of teams, failures or hard times or whatever you want to call it.
Especially when I would say there are at least two, Ullmark and Saros I'd put in this category, maybe even Markstrom as well.
It's three. It's Markstrom too.
Have to go this summer at the latest. You know what I mean? Like it's in a situation where you have to move them just because of the way who you've got waiting in the wings and what their contracts are. And it just feels like an opportunity to do it now when a team feels that one piece away and maybe you can get them a little desperate.
I'm going to go right off what you said, waiting in the wings. Detroit Red Wings, they need the goaltender. They have everything else. Get these guys some playoff experience. Get them their goal. Imagine like a guy like Markstrom. I don't know if he wants to go live in Detroit, being Swedish. It would help. They have but put him in there now, make a nice little run, get these guys the experience. You got them next year when you are ready to maybe move on to the next
Stevie
couple
Y.
rounds.
Do you boys, can you see Stevie Y with the Yzer plan making a Markstrom move? Wow.
He's been so quiet, Army. I feel like Stevie Y's got something up his sleeve that he's waiting at the 11th hour to pull. And if it was an Ullmark or a Markstrom, I would go nuts for that. But I've said I got eyes on Flower to Detroit. I know he says he doesn't want to move, but I also think he cares about not missing the playoffs. And if Minnesota's out, which it looks like they are, I wouldn't be surprised if he changed his tune. And I could see that's it. Listen, going from Minnesota to Detroit, that's an easy hop over to the state next door. I would love that move. I think he fit in with that team. But, I think it'd be shocking if Stevie Y does nothing here. So I've got sharp eyes on Detroit right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Me too. They're like Buffalo last year. They didn't go get the goalie. They missed the playoffs by one. And then look what happens this year. All the magic is gone. Detroit, you have the magic going this year. Strike while the iron's hot. Get them a goalie, and who knows what happens. Look at the 8 seed last year. We're all the way to the final.
You guys know too, it instills a little belief into the boys, right? When you make that, when you see the management make that move, because you're right there. They're trending the right way. They're seeing teams like New Jersey and Pitt selling off assets, the Capitals selling off assets. And you heard Sid's comments, like, I don't know, ask them, but it rings true through the room. Like, oh, okay, well, we were right on the fringe here, but now people are going out the door, not coming in. And I know Yzerman is about that life. So I'm expecting to see him bring in some assets here to tell the boys we're making a push.
I want to ask you about the Penguins then too. Like like we saw Sid's comments. He obviously looked down. We knew the Gensel trade was probably going to happen for the last little while. Just because of the situation their team's in. The press conference from Dubas a couple weeks ago as well. We need to get younger around these core to, young legs around our veteran guys. And then, obviously Sid's saddened by this because he missed the playoffs last year. They're likely to miss again this year where they are right now in the hockey they're playing. They're not playing good right now. Last 4 games has been like just brutal, but it's like, he's just not used to this. Like, it's just been glorious for, 17 years or 18 years that he's been in the league, and every year he's a contender. And, what do you make of like what Dubas has done and trying to get some younger players on the Gensel deal, at least anyway? Do you think he could have done better? The sentiment I'm reading from comments online is everyone wishes he could have done better and gotten some better prospects, as Carolina has a boatload.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the move. I hate the move for Pittsburgh. I don't hate the trading of Gensel. I feel like that kind of needed to happen, especially with how they're doing this season. All signs to me point to a disconnect going on with Dubas and Crosby. Getting those comments from a guy like Crosby, who's just been a consummate professional his whole career, there was some salt in that response. So he's clearly not happy when he's playing at this elite level. It's a Greek tragedy that we are getting Sidney Crosby playing this well, and he's just going to miss the playoffs again. And they got speed bagged by Capitals last night, who are in the middle of a fire sale.
Yeah, they got crushed.
They got crushed, and you still can't get 2 points in that game. It's like, I can't believe that there was clearly this much of a lack of conversation between Dubas's camp, whatever you want to call it, and Crosby, to the fact that Crosby's giving that type of a response. That was a frustrated and annoyed response. And like I said, it was a little salty too. So clearly I think he is pissed off. The return, listen, Bunting is a fine player. The prospects aren't bad. People are freaking out. They're all second and I think maybe 1 third round pick, but they're all doing well. But they've got some studs in Carolina in NCAA right now, and not a single one of them went back to Pittsburgh. I think you have to look at that as losing the trade if you're Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay, but I'll say this though, the Sid, if they acquired someone here at this deadline, they're missing still to me. So it's like, I don't know that you needed to try to keep Gensel, bring in one more piece, and then you still miss. And then now you're like, what are we doing? Because I would say, boys, one of the hardest things in sports is that retool on the fly when your core is aging. I feel like the Kings kind of did it, right? As Brownie and Dewey was getting older and Kopi was getting older, I was like, yeah, they got their 2 cups. See you later. You're going to be horrible now. And they kind of like dipped and then came right back with a really quick retool. The only way to do that if you're Pitt around this core isn't with future first round picks because it's too late, right? So it was bring in young prospects, and you hope that Sid has that Tom Brady factor where you're like, you can bring in some guys and everyone goes, that guy's only okay. And then he goes on Sid's wing and he gets 30. And I'm like, oh, okay, actually that was a pretty good move, you know? So I think the move there was the only way we can get younger players and retool on the fly. We have one piece, and it's Jake Gensel. And I'm sorry, Sid, I know he's your boy, but hopefully we'll be better next year. And then you owe me an apology. I think that was the mindset.
Yeah.
You guys might know the answer.
Thanks, Sid.
I'm a gambler. I don't know all the rules of the NHL. Can he go there and then come right back next year and re-sign, or did they stop that? Because that was happening for a long time.
No, he sure can. The situation is I believe, someone check me on this, but Carolina gets to talk to him first to try to re-sign him. But if, July 1st hits, he can sign anywhere. So, and from everything we've heard, they're retaining 25% of that Gensel contract. And there is no extension in place as of now. So yeah, there's nothing to say that he's going to stay in Carolina. So that would be wild.
I think he's at a strange age for as good as he is. I'm a Gensel guy. I like him. He's not a big guy, but he gets to harder areas. He's rather savvy in traffic and kind of spin out of the way. He has had a few injuries out right now with injury as well. But just super smart hockey IQ, slithery kind of guy, sneaky long stick shot, good 10-foot pass game, like can play with anyone, I feel, because he's smart enough to do it. But I think just with his age and like my ideas and probably his are is I'm 29, I'll be 30 next year. I want to bang down an 8-year deal. And if you're like the Penguins, you're going, okay, like, Sid and Gino and Tanger, they got this much left in the tank. And then we got you, and that's great. At the same time, it'd be nice to keep someone around. I think of culture and what you guys are talking about, bring young guys in and what Sid can be for that culture. It'll be a little tougher, I think, for the legacy of the Penguins culture. Because when guys walk into that room now, it's just like, whoa, I'm here. There's a mystique about the team that they do it right. Crosby's the guy. He sets the tone. He's in the gym. He skates the hardest. He does. And so if they just do this do a full rebuild, like the culture is just all of a sudden, it's just like a bang, a new team. It would just end that whole legacy would end that we see in Boston, with what Marchand is now, where Chara and Bergeron, it's passing it down, passing the torch of this is the way you do it. And so I think there has to be some thought in that of bringing guys in, to your point, that they can play right away and prop up the old guys. The old guys can bring up the young guys, and they can keep that kind of culture in the room, which I think is pretty valuable and an unlooked at thing when you look at teams, usually just on the ice product. But it's when you come there, you walk in the room, there's something different. I think forever Pittsburgh's had that because of their core guys.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Guys, I got to just switch lanes quickly here because it's 1:15. We have a game in Germany going off at 1:30. I need to get the pick out there for the chat so that way we can follow it. I don't know if you're familiar with us. Our chat is our biggest thing. So the play today is Berlin money line -145. Our guy, Zach Boychuk, who is usually in our chat, is playing. It's the final game of the season. If they win, they get 3 points. They win the league, get the number 1 seed. So we got to ride with our guy, Boychuk. Berlin money line -145 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
And shout out to the chat, boys. The chat runs the show. The chat's amazing. They're calling me Arm Zempic because I'm dropping some LBs, boys. I'm getting ready for Chiclets Cup. I'll be on the rollerblades again, dialing it in, but the boiler and the man boobs will be hopefully slimmed down. Hopefully, boys. You guys are always there supporting it, though. It's awesome. I love hanging out with you guys when you see you at events or outdoor games or All-Star or the draft or whatever it is. So Armzempic. That's the new one for me.
I love it. Murrs, since you're talking about picks, why don't you tell me a little bit about DraftKings, dude?
DraftKings is our new our sponsor, our partner. With the season heating up, we've teamed up with DraftKings Pick 6 to help you bring the ultimate game day experience. If you've been looking for a brand new way to get in on the action, you're going to want to listen up. DraftKings just launched the Pick 6, a new way to play daily fantasy. All new customers get 100% deposit match up to $100 in Pick 6 credits when you deposit just $5 or more. Get in on the action right now. Getting started is simple. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and sign up using code Chiclets. The crown is yours.
There it is. DraftKings, good setup, by the way. I should have done that. That was my job. Great job, though. Great job. That's why you guys are pros. That's
I'll take that secondary assist
he's
all
popping
day.
in. Are you on the back? Are you finding trades? Do you have something to report? What is it?
We don't have a breaking trade just yet, but something seems very close. Larry Brooks is now reporting that Max Pacioretty could be headed to the New York Rangers. He said it's a real possibility from someone who knows. Brooksy doesn't throw stuff out there. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, that one I feel like we've been tracking for a little bit. We knew that Patches was going to stay on the East Coast. That's important to his family. He's been battling to get back healthy. I got to say, I know a lot of Rangers fans are going to lose their mind about this, saying that they needed to make a huge splash. I love that move for the Rangers because I don't think Patches is going to cost that much. I think he's eager to get back out on the ice. And what has the Rangers struggled with in the past? For me, it's bottom six depth. It's guys that are going to be really pumping in. And if you get Patches up there, if you want to play him up with a guy like Ziba, try to get him going 5-on-5 because him and Kreider have been a little quiet. If you want to bump him up and down the lineup, see what's working. He's a perfect guy for that. Perfect guy for the locker room. If that deal goes through, I love Pacioretty to New York.
All I'll say too is the Rangers fans are hammering that one right wing spot. That's all everybody's talking about. And I'm kind of like, obviously it would be sick to slot in Patrick Kane or whoever you want next to Ziba and Kreider, but that's a luxury. You know, you're kind of going to go, if Kreider and Ziba wake up, you're in good shape. And if they don't, you're not, you're dead. And that's fine. I much prefer the flexibility of a guy who could jump up on the peeper, could jump on that right wing spot if you need it, or can provide depth. And to your point, I don't think it's going to cost a lot. Maybe we'll never get an answer to that first pick. Conspiracy theory, but that would be a good move for the boys, I think, big time, especially because
conspiracy theory.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna go nuclear if that happens. It's unbelievable. Put Dolan in jail. It's unbelievable.
I love the Patch. I saw Patch last night. I played with him in Montreal. Obviously some issues with his Achilles tendon that are just insane. Like, talk about not only a physical battle, but a mental battle to get back. He's got like 10 kids too that play youth hockey all over the place, which is probably another reason he wants to stay out East. So he can keep his kids ripping around all these academies and everything they play on. That's a big factor to him, believe me. But he had like 4 or 5 good scoring chances last night. And I think he's got 3 goals. And most recently he has 2 in like the last 5 or 6 games as well. So he hasn't totally, hit his stride in his comeback, I think, with production, but his shot, I'm telling you, his shot, his size, he's a horse down the wing. He gallops down there. He's massive man, built like a Greek god, just huge guy, but his shot makes sound. Like when he shoots it, you just hear it like, and he's a game breaker. So if they can get him in a position and playing on a good team with a good line that can create and generate, he's, I think, an underrated playmaker as well. That's a big, if they can make that move, that'd be a big game breaker type player wherever you put him, I think. And if he can get that confidence back and that touch right now, he's just a massive factor because of all the intangibles that he has, skating, size, shot, offensive instincts, all that stuff. That's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah, Caps are right in that window too, where they're gonna just poof. Guys are going out of there. Of course,
local guy from Connecticut. I guarantee he grew up a Rangers fan. Look what it's done for Jonathan Quick there, playing for his hometown team. That always gives a guy a little extra boost, little extra, like, what is it, a bonus to play, to win. You want to be there. You want to keep the season going. I know when I played in some cities over here in Europe, I didn't care if they won or lost. I wanted to get the hell out of there. I wanted the summer to start. You won't see that if Pacioretty goes to the Rangers.
Yeah.
And hey, boys, I would say too, one of the luxuries of being the 1 seed and having the seasons the Rangers have is he can use these 20 games to get his legs under him. You know what I mean? It's not like you're in a massive playoff push grind. I need you ready right now, Patch. It's like, no, dude, get your legs going, get your game going, and we're ready for playoffs.
You know what I love about this move too is people keep talking about in Rangers land, if they were to trade a guy like Kakko, for example, for a more highly coveted winger like Buchnevich, like Vetrano, they keep saying, what's the point of that? Because we're making a hole on the third line in the right wing just to bring in a right wing for the first line. We still have a hole to fill. You get a guy like Patch, all of a sudden you can maybe afford to lose a guy like Kakko in a big trade for maybe that bigger guy, and you have both of those holes filled. So this might be step one of a step two plan if they can get this across the goal line, which is very interesting.
Very interesting. I love all the contending teams. I feel like, and I don't know, you guys tell me, does this feel like a toss-up year of any year of the amount of good teams won, but the amount of like okay teams that could be good teams? I don't know. Like, I feel teams feel like it's so wide open right now that it could be anybody's, and you just got to get in. Now some teams are starting to separate, believe me, like Colorado, like look out. But there's some other teams up there that are contenders, or some teams that could sneak in. What's your feel on who's the dead set runaway? I think, and the West seems pretty stacked too. But I don't know.
It's for, you know, what's funny? It feels like a flip flop of last year. We were talking about last year how the East was so deep, and it felt like the Cup winner was coming from the East no matter what. And then it just looked like everyone in the East beat the hell out of each other through all the playoff series. And then Vegas waltzed in and, you know, dummied Florida in 5. And it almost feels like now there's so many good teams in the West. And with, you know, Carolina loading up, getting Gensel, getting Kuzi, amazing. I still think Florida is head and shoulders above everyone in the East right now. And to me, it feels like we might see a situation in the West where these teams go through such grueling series all the way to the Cup, and Florida might just square dance their way right in and have an easy road. So if I had to pick a favorite, it's got to be the Cats right now for me.
Yeah, I would say on the East, I agree with Dan on the East, and I'd rather be a Met team on the East, because I feel like you don't have to play Florida till the Eastern final, so you just hope to catch them in 7, get a right couple bounces. So I'd be much happier to be Carolina right now, loading up, getting that 3 seed in the Met in the first round, who, God knows if that's going to be Philly or Islanders or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that all day, then try to beat the Rangers and taste the Cats. The West is, I think, way better, but to your point, Army, wide open, because I'm like, man, any of the Vegas right now is a wild card. They're the second wild card as of right now at this moment. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're the Jets having the season of your life, and you catch a healthy Vegas in the first round. And I'm like, you get swept again, so it's like anybody in the West could take them down. It feels like the Preds are the outlier, just because I'm like, well, I don't really see the Preds beating any of those other 7 teams, but what a run they're on too. You catch them at the wrong time, there's your season over. So the West is going to be super fun to watch from day one of the playoffs.
Yeah. The perfect timing, guys. This leads right into the main question I'm probably going to ask every guest here. So before we let you go, I know we've been talking about Vegas, and then we'll probably die if we end up seeing each other again for the conference final or final, but give me your conference final in the East and the West from now on.
I'm going to go Florida, Carolina, and then I'm going to go Vegas, Colorado.
Oh, damn. That's a good one. I'm going to go Florida. Oh, man, I want to say Carolina, but give me Florida Rags just to do it, because I think
that's what I would do.
They're hot. I don't think they get past Florida, New York, but I like
that's my answer right now.
I like them getting there.
If the Rangers make a move, it's the Rangers. I like the Rangers this year.
Yep. Give me Florida Rags, and then give me Dallas. I've been on Dallas since preseason. Give me Dallas. God, can the Canucks do it? I don't think so. Give me Dallas, Vegas. I want to go back, Murls. I know you don't want to go back. I want to go back.
Vegas in 5. Murls just strung out from a final from the elbow room right to the strip in Las Vegas.
I think we're definitely seeing each other at the elbow room this finals for sure.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Appreciate the insight, the time, the entertainment, the friendship. There they are, the empty netters, Dan and Chris Powers, the great, beautiful, handsome duo. You can check them out. Where can we find you? What do you guys got coming up right now? Anything?
We're actually on a bit of a break for a bit here. We don't have too much travel, but yeah, you guys, find us anywhere, find us on all the socials, and guys, we love you. It's so fun hanging out.
Thanks.
Keep crushing it.
Thanks, boys.
Guys.
Love those guys. Just a great group of guys right there. Just unbelievable to be around, Mur.
Their
positivity.
It's a bet. That's when we go on our trips. We always end up in a box with them. I have a smile on my face the whole time. I feel great.
I know. I love hanging out with them. The best was a Chiclets Cup in the lobby bar, just having a few old fashions, hanging out with them. Yeah. We ordered some pizza, had it set up on a table next to us because there's no food served to cut off the food. Big mistake. Well, we ordered food, brought it in, and just chilling with those guys, having laughs. The easiest guys to talk to. Great guys. If they have an event, you can go see and hang out with them or meet them at some of these things. I highly recommend it. Just fantastic guys and great guys for our game as well. Some awesome takes and some fun to be had definitely when watching them or around them. So thank you to those guys for coming on. I think we got another guest right now.
I love those guys, but I love this guy even more. He's the reason we're here.
Oh.
There he is.
Let's go.
The Russian helmet.
Is that Mark Letestu?
The test tube. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, Big Whit?
You guys look nice.
Thank you. It's a big trade deadline extravaganza.
We're insiders here.
Yeah. We're some real insiding coming in from us. Has anyone made one call yet?
Well,
no,
I just keep waiting.
One correct trade.
Yeah, I had Henrique to your Oilers.
You did?
Yeah, last game notes I gave that one.
I love that move.
Whitty, how you feeling, Whitty, how you feeling?
I feel great. I mean, last night, Oilers fans will tell you it was the worst game of the year. There were some tough ones early. I don't know about that. But since they've really started to get going, and in November-ish, December, they've been just incredible. They've been the best team in the league. And then last night, they just played down to their competition. And all these idiots, oh my God, people are so dumb. Nice acquisitions. Those guys look great. Dude, it was the first game. They got to the team 7 minutes before the game started. Mm-hmm. What are people talking about? How you judging a trade after one game?
Yeah, Whit, you've been traded. I've been traded. Like, you go into a new room or you're a team that's kind of set up the way that the Oilers have been lately and running. And this is the kind of thing about the chemistry of the room. And do you want to make moves? I think the moves they made are correct, though. I think they've got guys in the right spots. They acquired the right guys that they would need. But there is an adjustment. There's no question when these kinds of things happen, there is a little bit of adjustment, no question. And do you like that Carrick fought like right out the gates against a pretty tough guy?
It was awesome. And, they're down 2-0. Olivier got, I think, the first goal, right? By the way, that guy he's a killer.
Where's he from, too? He's from like a weird place.
Says he's from Mississippi. He must have been born there if his dad was playing or so. I'm guessing his dad might have been playing there. I don't even know if his dad played hockey, but he's got a French name, and then he played in the Quebec League. So I'm assuming maybe his dad was a pro hockey player or something, but that guy is nails. But Carrick shows up down 2-0. All right, let's change the pace up a little bit here. And, man, they got it to 3-2, and I thought they were going to tie it up for Mr. Ice as well. But in the end, whatever. Tough first game, but they won the first game of the road trip in Boston. And then they got Buffalo coming up, who's pathetic, and they got Pittsburgh coming up, who's pathetic. So at least if they get both of those, it's a 3-1 road trip. We're happy. And in terms of a new adjustment in player, I mean, you got to learn an entire new system. You got to learn new line mates. It's probably more uncomfortable off the ice than it is on the ice, and that's also difficult. So you're getting to know new guys. You're breaking in new gloves. Don't ever forget about the breaking in
the
new
equipment. The new equipment. Pants.
Pants are annoying. Helmet's fine, but the gloves, man. I always needed 2 or 3 practices with my mitts. Just to get
not this day and age. The new gloves, you can just wear them right out now, though.
Yeah, see, I haven't had new equipment.
Yeah, they're way soft.
I don't even have equipment.
Even skates like the skates now, you get them, you can just like wear them out of the box. I remember it took like 3 weeks to break in a pair of wheels. It was horrible feeling. Your feet are killing. Now you put them on, they have like built-in bends where you bend and stuff. It's insane. But there's no question there's an adjustment. I'm trying to think about the other moves made. The other moves made around the Oilers too. Now, your team is playing really well. There's no question. They've now captured the minds and hearts of a lot of hockey people to say this is a team that could win a Stanley Cup.
Best team in the league for about 3 months.
They went from the basement dungeon handcuffed to a steaming hot pole of shit to now eating grapes and getting fanned by beautiful women in Edmonton. What do you make of the deals made around them in kind of the arms race now that is the West? The West is like got some big dog teams stacked. And how do you feel your Oilers stack up against these teams?
So
Colorado.
I've been talking about Dallas a lot. Dallas is just a great team. They're deep. They have strength at every position. That's a big worry. Colorado, with what they've gone and done, I mean, talk about not standing pat. I thank God they didn't get to Foley. I mean, I thought they were going to get to Foley somehow too, but he goes to Winnipeg, who I think that Winnipeg's a solid team. I'm not super worried about Winnipeg as an Oilers fan. I'm just not. But no disrespect to them. Hell of a season. Surprised everyone but Army. Vegas is the worry. And honestly, I'm not even really that worried about Vancouver. I know that sounds crazy. And I know those two back-to-back games earlier in the year was like the beginning of what felt like the end for Oilers fans. But in the end, I think we match up with Vancouver great. I really do. But Vegas, boys. Vegas is an issue.
So right now, it's LA's would be their first round matchup. So you're rooting for LA to stay ahead of Vegas.
For
that first round.
I'm not worried about LA. Idiot boy Biz, the only guy who can't throw a tie on Sportsnet, looks like an asshole. He is like, remember he was all about LA. Remember LA. Like, all right, we're not worried about LA. Two great series, right? 2 years ago, it went to Game 7. Last year, it went to Game 6. So probably this year, it continues the same trajectory, and we probably beat them in 5. I'd love to get them in the first round.
LA and Edmonton series have been fucking electric.
They're awesome.
They were unbelievable.
And I'm just chirping. LA is a great team, but I just think the Oilers are better. Okay, I'm more thinking about getting out of the Pacific. Now, quickly before we continue, I guess I'm an analyst. I need some help. All right. How do you figure out, will they decide which team, like, so you play the 2 versus 3 in the divisions play, correct? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they figure out before if the 8th seed's a Pacific team, like, will they stay in that other bracket? Like, how do you do that? I still don't get it.
It always changes. I don't get it either.
The lowest and the highest. So it doesn't matter. You could have a crossover. You could have a crossover. For example, like Vegas right now, where they're at right now, would play Vancouver, right? And then Dallas would get Nashville.
Yes.
That's how it would work.
I know, but then after that, it would just stay. What do you do after that?
Then you stay in the path you're in. So you could be a Metro team, but you kick over to the other division. You could cross over. You could have a crossover area there. That's how they do it, which brings us to another point. Should they just not go 1-8?
That means if say the playoffs ended today and Dallas played Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Dallas, say Vegas wins. You're telling me then Vegas would play the winner of the Jets and the Avs?
Yeah, they kick over to their side.
Okay.
Right now, you guys restart because Vancouver's in the 1 seed. They got 89 points. So they would play Vegas.
Yeah, he was doing a hypothetical question about switching.
I was just looking at the top of the Central on NHL.com. Yeah. Okay, so once you're in, wherever you start, that's where you're staying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, in that case, maybe we could somehow not have to play Vegas. That's probably the goal. Because I think Oilers fans will tell you after last year, now Stone is the question mark. Stone is a big question mark. And I've been open and honest on Chiclets. Like all these people who think they're blatantly cheating, like he ruptured his spleen. I don't think they're making that up. Now, all of a sudden, Martinez goes on the IR. If he somehow goes to LTIR, basically what I'm saying is if Stone comes back again for game 1 of the playoffs, I might have a meltdown. I might lose it. Because I know I've been on the other side of it where, like, they ain't faking injuries, but this would be the 3rd year in a row that Stone went on LTIR right around the end of February and returned, like, April 14th.
Game 1.
So,
did you see that Luongo? Did you see that Luongo tweet?
No, what'd he put?
It just said game 1, and then it was that wrestling meme of the guy in the wheelchair with his leg, and then he flips the blanket over and gets up like he has a cast on his leg. But he didn't say anything who it was. He just put game 1. Stirring the pot. The Florida Panthers and Golden Knight final. He's stirring that pot, trying to get under their skin.
Now, like, so I understand, and like, I guess unless it's golf, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But I mean, at some point, if Stone comes back again and is flying around there, and Hannafin's snapping it tape to tape, and Martinez is bouncing around, it's going to be like, all right, they're going to be hard to beat. They got 115 million or whatever it is playing in their lineup. But you know what? To be the best, you got to beat the best. Now, Vegas right now, I mean, them being the second wild card team, that's a little, you got to think they figured out, but what if they don't?
They look terrible. The goaltending's terrible.
Well, they can't get goals out of their net. I saw my boy Gary Lawless was on the Canucks broadcast last night talking to Murph in between periods.
And he asked, Taco Bell.
Yeah, he had a little hot sauce on his cheek still from down in Florida when I went on a hot date with him, overlooking the ocean, eating Taco Bell on an open air balcony. Just an unbelievable night, 1:00 in the morning. He said the simplest thing. Murph asked him, "What's something this team needs to improve?" No joke. Lawless goes, "Keep the puck out of the net." That was the answer.
Very direct.
Yeah, and a few words.
Boys, I wouldn't say this is necessarily breaking news, but something's happening here. Elliot just tweeted hearing traction on Jake Allen to New Jersey.
Where'd you say he was going?
God.
Colorado. But then as soon as I said it, the backup got like back-to-back shutouts. So that was.
Hey, doesn't G look amazing with that hair and that stash and that sports coat thing on?
He looks like Johnny Depp in Blow.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Say the Pee Wee Herman character.
I'll take that.
It looks like when Pee Wee Herman was cranking himself off in the movie theater that time and got arrested.
It's exactly what he looked like. He just left. He's on here.
Staying in the West. Colorado. Wow.
Oh,
I mean, those guys. Trennan in the playoffs, that lunatic Russian. And I didn't really know that much about Duhaime. Like, you don't see a ton of Minnesota, I guess. I wish I watched him more, but this year's been so up and down. He's a motherfucker to play against. His first game's actually against the Wild tonight, which is kind of interesting. It's always weird for a guy, I would assume. But Colorado's going to be right there. I mean, if now the question is like Georgiev. I don't know, man. Like, I don't necessarily believe in him. He's played a ton too. The guy's played nonstop all year.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a question mark, but Middlestad addresses that second line center role. It was pretty evident early on that Johansson wasn't going to work out there. I don't think he has the pace to play anymore at the speed that they play at, but Middlestad's quietly like a point producer, younger, awesome player. And now I think he fits in great with that team. So they have all the makings of going on another run. And you know how pissed off they are to win the cup and then lose game 7 at home against Seattle. Like, you know, Nate, he's psychotic. He's probably been thinking about that series all year. He's got a point in every home game. The only guy ever to do it's Wayne Gretzky.
That's why it's must watch tonight to see if he gets the point. Every game now, awesome.
Their game the other night was insane. Rantanen, McKinnon, Makar, the hat trick, 4 points all around the board. They were just on fire, on attack. It's like nothing I've seen really with the pace. I think Middlestad's going to have an issue even like getting adjusted to the type of pace they play with comparatively to what he came from Buffalo. It's going to be like, hey, buddy, strap in. You're coming into a team that is just on fire right now. I think the Byram move too, like it was just a matter of time, I think, before they had to, you know, look at another option. And Walker coming in there, who's been like really good in Philly, like pretty rock solid. It's just like a different style defender.
Skates well, that can complement these other guys. And I know they're a puck movement, possession team, an attack team. And I think he just adds like more of a stability type factor instead of you know, what Byram's game was, which is kind of like a knockoff Makar style of game almost. You know what I mean? Yeah, Makar being there is just like, like I know it sounds crazy, but we don't need him. And like if we can get somebody to address the second line center role, I like that trade for both teams. It's an old school 1-for-1 deal where I think both teams win. And Byram, like, he got a quick goal last night in Nashville. That was cool to see. And he's just going to get a chance. Like, he was never going to be able to be the guy. And I think he has the ability, depending on his health, to run a power play and be that number one defenseman. And if he was never going to do it in Colorado, it makes sense. Not to mention, like, Gerard moves the puck great. Like, they have what they need in Colorado on defense. Walker was a great addition. I mean,
they got a kid in the minors, Malinsky. That's pretty good too.
Oh,
really?
He came up for a bit. Remember him? He kind of looks
guy.
like Makar too a little bit.
Yeah. So
it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember, Murl. You told me about that Cornell guy, and he has the same, like, gear wear as Makar, didn't he?
It's
they
like
look the
made him in
same.
a lab.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
I'm
I'm scared of the Avs. The Avs are must-watch TV. Like, they're just electric.
I love Mosh's guy, Miles Wood. That guy flies around. He's nuts.
He's been a great fit. He's just
got to stay out of the penalty box. Ask idiot boy Posh. That's all he ever talked about is the penalties he took. But he's like 230 pounds and is one of the fastest players out there. Playoff style hockey, baby. So
with him and Trennan on a line.
Trennan, what a mutant. The only man to ever walk out of Chernobyl. He's a killer. Yeah. So Colorado's been on the move. Who else out west? I mean, Dallas already made that Tanev move, and I think when Dallas got Tanev, it was pretty open that they were done. And I mean, like, I talked about Stankhoven, the stanky leg. Did you see the stat? Did you see the stat that him and Wyatt Johnson combined for 9 points the other night? It was the first two players, 21 or younger, to combine for 9 points in a game since Curry and Gretzky did it.
Crazy.
So that's wild. I mean, like, the fact Sid and Gino didn't do it or anything, like, it's just nuts to think.
And
of
maybe
this
that's
young
why
talent.
they don't really need to go look up front, because they have a found prospect that they just brought up. He just got there and he's just dominating. They also
Stankoven's making a deal at the deadline.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Same thing. It's kind of
boys.
similar.
We got some breaking news here.
We got breaking news. G.
Breaking news. Montreal has officially sent Jake Allen to New Jersey for a conditional third, which becomes a second based on games played.
Hey, what about these conditionals lately? Like, I'll get the pick if they make the finals, they get a fourth. If they win, they get a third. If they do this,
Vegas had the craziest one, Colby, where they said they sent a conditional first, I believe, to Calgary if they didn't trade it this year. If they don't trade their first this year, then it becomes a first next year. That's insane.
I saw one. I don't know if it was real
Bemstrom.
about if somebody got 50 points or something, it turned to a higher pick.
The Penguins traded Bemstrom for Nylander plus I think it's like a pick. If Bemstrom gets 6 or more goals the remainder of the season, it turns from something into something else. I'm like, fucking don't play the guy.
Hey, by the way, like, Nylander looks great for Columbus. Did they ever give him a shot in Pittsburgh?
He got to play with Gino a little bit, and he had a couple good runs. I will say, like, there's potential there. Like, he's a skilled kid, and he could do it. He just looked like he was a little bit not quite there, but for whatever reason, the opportunity he's gotten early here so far going to Columbus, he's played well. But he's been in the minors majority of his career, put up good numbers in the minors, but just hasn't been able to last long enough, Whitty, up in the NHL. It's hard to get there, Whitty, and then it's even hard to stay there, right, boys?
Holy shit, is it ever?
Whitty, while we have you here, I want to ask every guest we have today your Eastern Conference final and your Western Conference final.
I'm going to go a repeat of 2022 out west with Edmonton playing Colorado. And I'm going to go out east. I think Florida is noticeably better than everyone. So let's say
the Rangers,
Florida. I know, but man, the Rangers fans are like they're ready to hang themselves. They're ready to hang themselves right now. I don't know. I don't know about the Rangers, man. Zibanejad can't score 5-on-5, but they're a good team. I like them. I guess that's kind of a safe pick. And yeah, let's go Rangers. Let's go Rangers. Although this is impossible. Like, this is impossible to figure out because in one sense, like, you're like, oh, Florida's better than everyone else, but buddy, like, you could see them.
The Bruins.
The Bruins are great.
Fair.
The Bruins brought in Maroon. The big rig. Jack Edwards is peeing his diaper right now, thinking about having to face the big rig.
I saw Brian Boyle on NHL Network. He tweeted that Jack Edwards is picking up the big rig at the airport when he rolls in
and driving him right to McDonald's.
Yeah, a quick pickup for the big rig. That's a good trade.
Man,
that's a good
that's,
side trade.
That's tough. This Bissonnette character, him saying bring on the Bruins in the first round. I don't think there's a more dominant team over another team in the NHL. The Bruins versus the Leafs is like Crosby versus the Flyers. Like, it is a one-sided dummying every single time they go head to head. So I don't understand what this idiot's talking about wanting the Bruins.
I did a hit on the trade deadline with Sportsnet before our show started. I did 2. At the last one, Biz asked me what my fraud team in the NHL is. Fraud. I was him and Han on. I was thinking, I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. The Leafs. The Leafs.
Oh, the Leafs.
But you have with it on.
You have to be thought of as really good to be a fraud. I don't even think they're like good enough to be considered a fraud.
They got all these nice shiny toys, and then he went on to say
they're losing to the Bruins.
It's the mind game, Whit, is what you're saying, though. It is a mind bomb that the Bruins have had over the Leafs' head for how many years now? It is one of those things that is a reality factor. There's guys. What's a team for you, Whit or Murr, that you guys got points against? It was kind of funny. Like, you just felt different. You felt good against that team. Well, for that, the Bruins, that's the Leafs. It's just like, it's like the big brother, little brother. I'll never lose a fight to my little brother type of thing.
And Biz is like, well, we showed some fight back. I don't care about losing 4-1 for the second time in 3 days. We showed some fight back. It's like, buddy, you lost all the fights. I guess Bertuzzi, you could call that a win against, what is it, Wotherspoon or whatever. I mean, Swayman was calling out your goalie. You didn't do a thing. What are you talking about?
I got something in the chat here, Whit. I might have lost it. Where is it here?
Rangers fans are panicking.
Someone's saying the Leafs would spank Oilers if they ever met in a playoff series. Someone just said that on the chat. It came right through my eyes. The chat's just buzzing right now. Unbelievable.
The Leafs are the only team with worse D than the Oilers. What's he talking about?
Oilers are the best.
The Leafs aren't even frauds because they're done. They're not going to beat the Bruins. If anything, they should try to tank and get down to a wild card to get away from the Bruins.
Yeah, because they played great against Florida last year.
Oh,
but
my
I mean,
God.
You can't chirp the Oilers D because they're the best 5-on-5 team in the league. You can't be a great 5-on-5 team if your D are that bad. Bouchard is like incredible with the puck. Yeah, I mean, obviously Ceci has his moments. Last night he like put one right on a guy in Columbus's stick. But the Oilers against the Leafs would be probably the greatest thing to ever happen to the Spit and Chiclets podcast. It may end at it may end the show. That's the only bad thing.
Joe Giacovino on the chat says that
Joey Giacovino.
Joey Giacovino, baby. He said that the Rangers
fan.
He goes, oh, the Rangers are panicking, ... The Oilers just gave up a first for Adam Henrique. Laugh my ass off. Who cares?
Hey, Joey, jack me off.
David and Leon, you don't care.
Shit about the first round pick. What does the first round pick matter? We're trying to win now. The first round pick, it's going to be the 31st pick or whatever. Who gives a shit? We brought in a two-way forward, Adam Henrique, who's played a long time, been in a Stanley Cup final, is an awesome player offensively and defensively. We bought in Carrick. What the hell does a first-round pick matter? If they lose and they get knocked out, who knows if Leon resigns? We don't give a shit about first-round picks. Fans who are thinking their team has a shot to win and are panicking about trading their first-round picks might be the dumbest group of fans out there. First-round picks? Me and Army were first-round picks. Look how that turned out. Who gives a shit?
We gave him Kunitz and Hossa. That's what we did. That's what we can do.
Exactly.
But also, when you're in the window, hit the goddamn window. Your picks are a question mark. What are they going to be? How are they going to play? Are they going to be any good? The Oilers had first overall picks for 10 years straight. And look where they've been. They're just starting to finally get in the conversation the last little while. If you're in the window, your picks mean shit. The picks should be an opportunity to get better. Poos, we should clip what Whit just said on that thing. That is like ultimate message to any team that's in their window right now to go for it. Look at the Penguins.
That's why I was happy for Carolina fans, because Carolina, the management in Carolina for so long, it was like they wouldn't take a rental. They wanted guys with term, and these fans who are packing this building, they're loud as hell. They're just like, give me something. And finally, they went out and grabbed the best player on the market. And yes, the team gets rewarded because you now have a sniper, a guy who scores in the playoffs too. It's not just regular season goals for Gensel. You go out and get your guy, but the fan base is like, thank you. Do you think the Carolina fans give a shit about the first round pick that they traded? No, it doesn't matter. You're trying to win the cup now, buddy. You can't think about the future. Yeah, like, am I trading my first round pick if I'm the Chicago Blackhawks? Absolutely not. They're trying to build. The Oilers aren't trying to build. They've built.
Yeah, and when your window closes, then you sell off your guys and you get your first round picks. Then that's how you do it.
It's a circle of life.
Draisaitl in 3 years for 2 first round picks. Then you're back where you need to be.
Any Rangers fan who's trying to tell you that this deadline so far, and there's an hour and 10 minutes left, hasn't been a disappointment is flat out lying to your face. Now Vetrano's still out there, but Anaheim can't retain any more money. They already got their 3 retainments done. So now granted, what does Vetrano make? 3.6? It's like a hell of a deal. But Rangers fans trying to say that they're not worried after this deadline are flat out lying.
Gee, before
Guys,
you
we
go,
got some breaking news here.
Okay, before you go, I want to just give Whit some credit.
I'm not going anywhere.
I want to give Whit some credit for the Carolina making the Gensel move tweet the night before that kind of triggered probably for them to wake up.
Do you think it was my tweet that did it?
I think it was. I think it was you. Go ahead, G. Breaking news.
Eric Johnson has been traded to the Philadelphia Flyers.
Whoa.
The Condor.
That is from Elliot Friedman.
That just came across the line. Is it on the line?
Stanley Cup champ, former first overall pick, a guy who will be able to go into Philly. Torts will love his game. He's blocking shots. He's doing everything it takes. And man, I guess we're talking about how dominant the Flyers are. The Panthers, what a win for Philly, buddy. They go into Florida and they get a dub last 20 seconds. Hathaway slamming away a Hyman-type goal. I have said since like the second week of the season, just wait, the Flyers will stop there. Just wait. I don't know, man.
They're
adding.
It's nice they're doing something.
They fill in Walker
in the playoffs.
They fill in Walker. They go get the Condor, which is probably, if you really think about it, like an upgrade. They really upgraded getting that old veteran in there to add to their group. But they just keep winning. I don't get it. They were supposed to fall off. They weren't supposed to be this good. This is ruining probably their plans of like what they were supposed to be right now. And getting draft picks and being on the other end of it that we were just talking about with reference to draft picks and everything. So I don't know. Is it going to pick up the last hour here, Whitty? Are we going to see some teams that have to, you're making major organizational decisions. Like if you're the Flyers, for example, and you're in it and you're like, are you going to win? I don't know. They're hard to play against every night, but it's like, you got to make a choice on some of these guys and like Lawton and some of these other guys that are there that are in kind of their names are popping up.
I know, but I think like Lawton, bring in the next guest. He's a Metro guy.
Yeah, we got a Rangers insider here, Jonny Lazarus.
Oh, this guy's just panicking.
Disrespecting the whole time, dude.
This guy's just panicking right now.
Well, first of all, boys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, Whit's spot on. But it's weird. Like last year, all the excitement's around Kane and Tarasenko. We get them first round exit. This year, it seems like there's not much buzz. Maybe it's Vetrano. Maybe it's a reunion with Buchnevich and Duclair. And then they go after and try to get Gensel out of nowhere. So Ranger fans now are going from like, oh, I guess, we'll go after Vetrano and whatnot. But now we're getting Jake Gensel. And then it's just one big letdown, right? It's like you see what Gensel, the return is for him with Pittsburgh. You see Carolina pick him up, a team that's been competing now for, 5 years in the Metro. The team the Rangers have been after in the Metro. The Rangers are finally in first, and then they miss out. And it's just, it's turned into one big just disappointment. Really.
Well, what was the rumors? Gensel for like who? Like Perreault or Kakko or picks or what was it?
No, Perreault's off the board.
Perreault was off the board, but it was like Offman, Kakko, maybe a first.
Yes.
It was a lot. And for a rental, that's a lot to give up. I don't know if that was really the best move for them, but you got to come away with more than what they've gotten so far today, right? Like every team is getting better, and they're basically just doing lateral moves.
Okay, Rangers jock sniffer. Who do you think they should get right now, buddy? Who do you want the Rangers to go after? What have you had your eye on? Are you drinking the Vetrano Kool-Aid for him to come back there? Like what is the player that would really help solidify your team? Because you guys got a good
Vetrano guy. I'm a Vetrano guy. I love Frankie. I know him a little bit personally from the UMass connection. And you know, Whit actually said something a little bit interesting, I think like 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm all for getting rid of Kakko. Like, you know, this guy is a middle six player, you know, and fans want to hang on to him and continue to have hope with him that one day he could become like what Vetrano is doing right now. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I look at the Rangers in a similar position to Edmonton where, you know, the window is really like the next 2 years, right? And then you got to retool, you know, Kreider's 32, Panarin's 32, Mika's 30, Trocheck's 30, Trouba's 30. Like, this is an older group. You got to go for it in the next 2 or 3 years and then figure it out from there. I mean, you guys were talking about it spot on before about how you trade the guys and get the picks, and that's how the cycle continues to go. So I look at the Rangers.
Johnny, if Kakko was the 19th overall pick, Rangers fans would be like, yeah, whatever, move on. But it's like the fact you're second overall, it's like fans can't get out of their mind the pedigree from the draft. But after this long, that doesn't matter, dude.
Well, to that point, Whit, you look at Adam Fox, he's a 3rd round pick. And what they've gotten out of him, it's like if you flip-flop where those two are drafted, no one's even saying a word. Right. Like if Adam Fox went 2nd overall and he's having the career he's having, whereas Kakko is a 3rd round pick, like then it's like, oh, everything seems to make sense, you know, but again, like I think a lot of people have said it, Frank Saravelli being one of them, you got to remove the name tag off of Kakko's jersey and you got to remove where he was drafted and just judge the player on what he is right now, you know? And to me, it's a middle six guy who, sure, he possesses the puck well, maybe he's good defensively, but when you have 11 points in 41 games, to me, you're replaceable.
Yeah. You know? You might know this better than me, Johnny. They were supposed to be number 1 overall, right? That year, the Rangers, they lost the lottery. So they should have had Jack Hughes. That's part of it.
I don't know if it was like, I don't know if they were the favorite necessarily, but I know at one point there was like Kakko's going 1, Hughes is going 2, where the Ranger fans actually like cheered when Hughes got picked first. Which is
because
really
in the World Championships, I think he lit up the world.
Rangers fans cheered over that.
Yeah. And so Devil fans love to bring that up.
Let's look quickly because I got like 5 minutes. So let's look out west. I actually think every single team's got better. I think every single team out west has got better. Out east, Florida's gotten better. Carolina's gotten better. Boston would be on the cusp of maybe not. I don't know how much better they've gotten. The Rangers haven't gotten better. So it's like you're starting to feel what Johnny's saying, that everyone's doing something except for a few teams out east. Now, it's just hard, right? Like what's left out there is going to take a ton to get. Buchnevich is awesome, but that's a huge deal to make, right? And then Vetrano, you got to take the whole salary because Anaheim can't eat anything. So God knows what they're going to want for him with the year he's having. So whoever's out there right now, it's a big deal for a GM to make mid-season. Those are almost like summer deals, but all these teams of fans out east who haven't done anything, you're like, what are we going to do? We need to do something before 3:00.
Well, Whit, I want to ask you about that too. And all three of you guys, I mean, you guys kind of bash the Islanders a lot too. What the hell are they doing? Like they're right there. You know, they're on right there right now. They're on a heater. And you see Philly kind of dropping a bit. You know, I think now is your time to strike. And I actually think, you know, I said it today. I don't think this is like a hot take by any means. But if you look at the way the teams are set up right now and the way the Metro's set up, Carolina's going to jump the Rangers, and if the Islanders can jump Philly, you got a Ranger Islander first-round playoff series, and that would be fucking electric. Electric.
Incredible.
The Islanders aren't far off.
I think the Islanders are getting in.
Same.
I do too. They've won 4 in a row, and I think they got the Ducks next game. That should be a win.
And the Flyers schedule is pretty tough here too. I think the Flyers have I forgot who, but I think they have like Carolina. I know they just beat Florida last night, but when you compared like this 6-game window with both teams, the Islanders had a much easier schedule than Philly.
Like, what are they going to do? Lou doesn't do too much, I feel, right? Like, I don't know what an Islander.
They have an older team too, so it's like he might trust that they can get in and possibly go on a run with Varlamov, or not. What am I talking about?
Sorokin?
Sorokin.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Russian.
But basically what I was getting at is the West has gotten a lot better, and I feel like there's a bunch of teams who haven't done too much in the East. So
does it not feel like it's flip-flop though from last year, Whit? Like last year, everyone's saying like whoever's going to come out of the East, like it's going to be crazy, a dogfight, and the West was like kind of up for grabs. This year, it seems like it's flip-flopped.
Yeah, it really has. And Florida, if they could stay healthy, I don't know if anyone can beat them. I really don't. But like we said, like you go through the playoffs, man, you get one injury to a key guy and everything changes. So that's why all these depth moves, some fans look at them like, oh, what's that guy going to do? It's like, well, buddy, you need a bunch of guys ready to go come playoff time because there'll be key players injured in the first round within the second or third game of each series. It just always happens that way. So the way it's going to play out is crazy that it's just flopped in terms of what's wide open and what's going to be a dogfight. Conferences have switched.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I've argued this with Avery Zaretsky now for about 2 weeks, and I know you guys all know him and love him.
Well, that's like banging your head against the wall.
Well, Avery and I, both big Ranger fans. We host a show together, and we do see things a little bit differently. But I said after watching the Panthers-Ranger game the other night, I think, and I don't want to turn this into some big debate, but I would think if you're coming down to one roster spot between Kakko and Rempe in a series against Florida, I'm putting Rempe in there.
Oh, 100%. I am too.
Well, if you already have your guys that produce, like, I know you want a little extra probably, but in a series like that, like, could he not provide like what you need in that series to be a little bit more of a difference maker? Whether
Rempe,
it's intimidation. Yeah, Rempe.
Yeah.
Like Kakko will come in and he'll play his game and like maybe he might score, maybe he might get an assist, but like Rempe's going to come in and he's going to do his thing against, a team that generally bullies everybody. So I think it's a great weapon to have in your back pocket. No question. There's no question.
Guys, we got a little breaking news here.
Yeah. Oh, let's go, G.
The Boston Bruins have traded for 6'3" defenseman, former 34th overall pick, Andrew Peeke of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they sent former first-round pick Jacob Zorbel back.
Peak. He showcased him against the Penguins the other night. They went 7D, 11 forwards to play Peak so they could get a look at him. He's he's like a 6'7" guy, though. You know what I mean? He's a 6'7" guy. He's just a little bit of depth. He plays a little bit of a hard-nosed kind of game. Pretty good, pretty decent D-man. He'll be all right.
He's the height of Rempe then. And that's what you're to finish that. Like he quiets down some of those guys in Florida in a series. He would quiet them down a little bit and he would make all the Ranger guys a little bit bigger. And what's Kakko going to do? He's not going to do anything. He's just going to be killing the clock out there. So
I think you would start Kakko over him. But if after like game one, you're getting bullied like Florida does, it could be one of those things like, all right, we got to change our roster a little bit because the Florida Hyenas are out there bullying everyone like they do with every other team.
So I wouldn't even let him get going. I would stop it right away. I would bring up the other who's the other 6'7" guy they got?
Yeah, Adam
bring
Edstrom.
them both up, start them first line, go run Kachuk and Cousins and see if they want to play the same way for 7 games.
I remember the Leafs did a similar thing. The Leafs did a similar thing. And I think when Luke Schenn went to the Leafs, he didn't play to start. I think it was with Tampa. And then they played, was it in the bubble? And then they played the Islanders in round 2. And they put Schenn back in the lineup. And he fought Matt Martin twice. Like bing, bong, bing, bong. And they went from the identity line or whatever you want to call it on that team with that line, and Schenn just came in and just went after him, and it would like changed it. It changed like the feeling, it changed the vibe. Like he was massively important, not only with his play, but with that, like fuck you type of attitude where he's like, you're not going to run. You're not going to do what you guys do. You and Cizikas and Clutterbuck aren't doing that shit. And he came out there and just went after Martin every time. And I think it was like a monumental thing. And I think against a team like Florida to have a guy that wants to do that and is in there to do that, that's that big, that can move like he can and can impact a series that way to say like, fuck you to them. Because no one's been able to do it really so far except for Vegas. But, Chuck's, sternum was caved in.
Yeah.
It's like,
and they had other injuries too. It wasn't even just him. Jonny, as a Rangers diehard, little bulletin board material here. If you could play anyone in the first round, who would it be?
And like anyone, obviously, for me, it's honestly the Islanders. I want it.
And you think you'll smash them, or are you more saying?
No. I think it'd be a good series. I don't think they're smashing anybody. And especially in Ranger fashion, Whit, like the last time I think we closed out a series in 5 games or less was like back to 2015 against the Penguins or something. The Rangers always drag out series for whatever reason. I talked to Brian Boyle about it. That year they went to the Cup final, they thought like, man, every series we went to was 6 or 7 games. Like we were just gassed by the time we played LA. Like for whatever reason, they can't do it. But another thing I did mention, how crazy would it be, or maybe it's not poetic, I don't know if that's the right word, but if the Rangers get Detroit in round 1 and Patty Kane scores an overtime goal, like, man, that'd be fucking something, huh?
That would be sick. I love original six matchups. They get me going. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, nobody's talking about those wild card teams in the East. Detroit, Tampa, Army. I saw you on
Tampa again, Murls.
Watch on Tampa.
Yeah.
What's Tampa going to do? Sergachev's out. Yeah. I know Brisebois, like he's made some slammer deals in the last few years, and maybe this isn't their year. They've played a lot of hockey. Kucherov is literally just like dragging this team along right now with the production he's had. But no, I think like there's got to be a D. There's got to be a D that they've got to fill that Sergachev hole with that massive injury that he's sustained.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be Hanifin.
Yeah, and he said he wanted to go there. It was the number 1 destination for Hanifin, and I thought it was going to be there too. And then Jack Eichel got on the phone and started working the lines because of your sandbagger Whit, and they started to tag team this thing and got him right into Vegas. But can you guys see? Do you guys think like Tampa might be sneaky here? Let me look at the clock. 54 minutes remaining in the deadline to try to do something with that D, or are they just going to sit pat? John Cooper's comments after last game, embarrassing. It was an embarrassing loss to the media.
I think that they try, because of where they're at with windows closing, like, yeah, you do whatever you can. I just don't know what's out there for them. And I don't know what they have to give either, right? When you've been on this many runs, you just run out of the prospects and the picks to deal. Now, I just don't know if anyone's out there that they're willing to give up a big payment for. The thing that'll happen now for any team now to make a big move, I guess, except for Buchnevich and Vetrano who've been discussed, it would be somebody off the board that nobody's even discussed about getting traded. It's one of those late last minute 3 o'clock deals. Everyone's like, holy shit, I didn't even know he was on the market. So like that would hopefully that would be exciting.
You don't think Chychrun would be good for Tampa?
Yeah, Chychrun, Provorov. Those are 2 guys. 2D.
What's Provorov? Didn't he sign 5 years though?
In CBJ?
Yeah. Boys, I got to run. Thanks for having me on.
Right.
Love you guys.
Whit.
Great job. See you, Johnny.
See you, buddy.
See you, Whit.
Bye.
See you, Whit. Thanks to Whit for coming on.
Can I ask you guys one more? I know you were talking about it before I hopped on, but
when
you were talking about the Leafs wanting the Bruins, I guess, did Biz say that or something? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be somewhat of the 2018 Capitals? They take on Pittsburgh in the second round, they beat them, they kind of exercise that demon and move on and win the cup. I feel like if Toronto beats Boston, it's kind of like a meant to be story now.
Well, we thought it was last time with the Tampa thing, and then we want Florida. We want Florida. And then
that backfired, huh?
I definitely think that. I definitely think Tampa. Okay, but I think it's different. The lifetime or the length of time of the Boston in the Leafs kitchen type of thing. Like this goes back to when 2000. When was the ultimate comeback breakdown, the Kadri thing, and then the trailing, and then they came back 2013, 14?
Around that the year they went to the Cup, 15, right? No.
Boston was down and came back and slaughtered them. The chat will have it for us. 12, 13?
13, yeah, because they played Chicago in that final and lost.
Yeah, we've been neglecting the chat a little bit today. Too many guests on here. What's the chat?
Yeah, we got
saying?
guests coming in. The chat's buzzing right now. They're just talking about their teams. It's all over the place. Everyone's excited. Everyone, look at that jacket you have on. That is ultimate jock sniffer jacket right there. It's a nice coat.
The global, not the global series, the Stadium Series jackets.
Stadium Series jacket.
Sweating my ass off under here, though. I'm not gonna lie. I got the elbow room T-shirt on.
I think we're going back there in the finals. We'll be there in the Eastern Conference Finals at least.
Well, there we go, Laz. Do we have another guest waiting in the back? You got anything else to add, Lazzy? Where can we find you? What are we looking for? Morning Cup of Hockey, you and Colby Cohen every day. Give us a rundown. Love supporting our guys.
Friends of the show. Morning Cup of Hockey every Monday to Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m. live on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. You guys are the best. It's been awesome, getting to hang out with you guys the past year and whatnot. But thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to get I got to get your Eastern Conference Final and Western Conference Final predictions before I go.
Well, I think the West, how sick would Colorado Edmonton be again? I know it was a sweep the last time they met, but I think that'd be what all hockey fans want, right? McKinnon versus McDavid. And then the East, I mean, you got to go Florida. And then I feel like it's going to be, honestly, I could see Tampa getting back there, like maybe a Florida-Tampa, like a rivalry kind of conference final. I think the Rangers might disappoint, actually, and I hate to say that, but it's just trending in that direction, I think, you know?
Oh, no. How do you say
if you're a fan of a team, you know. It's like me with the Buffalo Bills. I just know they're never going to win the Super Bowl. They're just not going to beat. They're not going to beat Mahomes. The only way they'll get there is if Mahomes gets knocked out before.
All right. Well, thanks, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All
thanks
right,
for coming on, Johnny.
There he goes. What a beauty. We've had some great guests, Murls. We're just ripping through it. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. It's flying right now. I just saw a picture of Kuzi. Someone says it on here with a Russian name. I don't know what that means.
A guy chirping me about my knot. I knew this was going to happen because you're a legendary Windsor knot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the double Winsy, but I pull it real tight. I could leave it looser for the size, but I just go beast mode every day. You know, go on YouTube, Murls. Check out how to tie a tie. Look at our slick back agent right here. Tommy DeVito's agent.
Anymore. Boys, speaking of ties, I think we got to bring this guy on because he just went full tarps off.
No way.
Whoa. The Vegas Insider.
Getting ready or what, boys? What do we got? What do we got?
There he is. Dude, you're the biggest sensation on the internet right now. With
it. Hottest guy going. Had to show a little fur for the boys. Get it going,
a little
Murl.
Chest flow. He's got the chest pubes ripping. Attaboy, Migsy. I love
how's my volume in the back, Army? How's my volume?
You sound amazing. You look amazing. Your picks have been amazing. Every once in a while, I see my social media blow up. What's the insider saying? What's the Vegas Insider saying? Murls comes out of nowhere with something in the final minute of before games start almost, I feel like, as you're in the lab cooking. And then he comes out and just boom, check mark, boom, the next night, check mark, boom. You're just on fire. So thank you on behalf of the chat. Everyone loves it. The Vegas Insider.
Hey, Murl, is that a free Alexander Daigle suit from Wilkes-Barre still rocking? Let me see the inside. Show the inside pocket.
No, this is the one. But I was actually thinking that we ran into the Daigle. Where were we at the All-Star game? Was that where I saw him? And I was thinking
Toronto.
about that.
I know.
When we have him on, I got to tell the stories of the free suits he gave.
The free suits that said the Daigle in. I got that one.
Yeah.
The Daigle, of course, is the story of Chiclets Game Notes. Check the game notes. He said that to me. That's where it is. We got to have him on, Murls. We got to have.
No, what's funny is Migs after that's crazy. After all these years, he came with me when I went up to Daigle's Formula One party in Montreal. Remember he invited all of us?
Oh my God, watch out.
None of you Western boys would come out, so I end up taking the Migs up there. Me and him go to this place solo.
So we went out the night before. Obviously, we were young, so we go out. We're like, we got to go out. You know, get rid of the steam. At 4:15 a.m., all of a sudden we get home at 11. It wasn't a late night. 4:15 a.m. upstairs in Murl's old house, and I'm wide awake. When are we? This is in
Albany, New York.
Albany, New York. Like laying there in my eyes. All of a sudden I hear creaking up the stairs, and it's Mur. He just comes up, pokes his head, and goes, "Hey man, you want to leave?" And I'm like, "I'm already packed." We leave at 4:30 a.m. Drive straight to Montreal. Get there, nothing's open, so we go to the casino. And we're playing 3-card poker, I think.
Yep.
And for some reason, I'm playing $50 a hand, which is ridiculous since I made $300 a week.
He's playing in the Southern Pro League at the time.
Fayetteville Fire Ants, baby. Bruce Watson, my roommate in a trailer park. Anyway, that's another story. But I end up hitting it, Army. I win $2,000. So we end up going out that night. I spend $2,000. So that's gone. And then we go to the Daigle's party where you need special invitations, and there's lines for his friends. And then the other line is just all females. And they got a buddy with a flashlight looking at the girls going, "Nope. Yeah, you're in. Nope. You're in." I was like, this is unbelievable. I think the Vickers even came. Didn't Vickers jump on that journey?
Yeah, he snuck
So is this true? Tell me this, Migsy and Murls. The Daigle was telling me, I remember a story. He goes, "Come to my Formula One party. It's in Montreal. It's a big week. It's unbelievable." He's like, "I throw this massive party. and it's 3 stories. There's 3 different levels, and every level gets nastier and nastier. That's what he said to me. I'll never forget. I never went though. I never went.
I didn't make it up any levels. All I know is I tried to lean against the wall, and it was really just a curtain, and I fell right back through it and fell right onto like his VIP table. I was on the Captain and Ginger's real early that day. So, but yeah, that party. I mean, they were like walking in. There's like women wearing like lingerie and wings, holding like hors d'oeuvres
sushi platters,
sushi platters. Like I think like Sheryl Crow was there. I mean, it was legit, and it was obviously just like his buddies and who he's invited, and then basically just like obviously Montreal's known for how all the women they have and things. So it was a party. But yeah, that was funny. The Daigle. How
was the race that weekend? Yeah,
I didn't go to that.
No,
I didn't go anywhere near that track.
Didn't do anything. No,
we went.
But it's Migsy, I'm going to move on, and this is trade deadline. You have one of my favorite trade stories in all of pro hockey. I don't think even Army knows this one.
When I was in Memphis.
Yeah.
So I was playing in Memphis. The River Kings were in like the Central, and it's one of the best cities to play in, like best rink, for that level of hockey, obviously. So I come in after morning skate, and I'm like, man, I don't have because you give your tickets away. So you usually get 2 tickets, and my tickets aren't in my stall. And I'm like, hey. So I go to the equipment guy. I'm like, hey man, my tickets. And he's like, you got to go see coach. And I'm like, oh no, I'm like, please, not Topeka. So I walk into the coach's office, and he's sitting there with like the captain, like Donnie Parsons. And he's like, unfortunately, you're getting traded. And I'm like, oh God, please don't tell me Topeka. And they're like, yeah, it's Topeka. And I'm like, no. And they're like, they gave the best offer. And so the guy literally, coach reaches down, pulls up a handle of Captain Morgan, and he goes, this is the best offer we could get for you, was a handle. And I'm like, that's it? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh. He's like, but you don't have to leave for 2 days. Drink? And I'm like, might as well. So we're sitting there drinking Captain and Cokes, and like that's what I got traded for. And then I showed up
for a bottle of booze.
A handle
big bottle
of Captain and Morgan, though. It was Captain Morgan. So
what do you call that in Canada? A 75 or something?
A Texas Mickey.
Texas Mickey.
So I get to Topeka, and they say, you're a fighter. And I'm like, no, I just run around a lot. And they're like, well, we'll give you $50 a fight. First night, 3 fights. Like run around trying to fight anybody, get $50 for the bar after. But yeah, that was my
what a league.
That was my trade. Handle of Captain Morgan's. So,
I love that trade story. At least you got more than Chris Draper. Didn't Chris Draper get traded for $1 back in the day?
Really?
Bigger trades. I think it was Winnipeg to Detroit, and became one of the main fixtures there in those legendary teams. Chris Draper.
How about my team? Obviously, Stanley Cup champs.
I know
everybody's forgetting about them, but until you beat the boss, they're still the champs.
They're leaking oil.
How about them going out though and getting Hannafin?
Yep. And Mantha. They're leaking oil a little bit. They can't keep the puck out of their net right now, Migsy. It feels like it's been a little bit of a battle right now. What do you make, first of all, of those 2 trades they've made? Is there more to come?
I don't think they're going to get it. What my word coming out of the rink is yesterday, the place was empty. So the day before, it was packed. They were there all night, all day, obviously trying to get that Hannafin deal probably done and seen. Yeah. Yesterday, I guess there wasn't a lot of people around, so it was a quiet day, which means I'm guessing they might be done. The rumor I was hoping was they were going to bring Flower back to kind of back up Hill, but I don't think Minnesota is going to move him. I don't think Minnesota was going to move him, is what I heard. Thompson really. You get him as a backup going into anything. Unfortunately, something happened to Hill. I don't know if Thompson's ready for that stage, but that was the same combo they had last year. They had Quick around, but he wasn't really in the mix. But I love the Hannafin deal. I mean, just adding.
Are they going to sign him? You think they're going to get him?
Yeah, they're working on extension, I guess. That's what kind of put the deal in. And maybe that's why they gave up the first, because they were working on an extension. So if they can get him signed for a bunch of years, they got Pietrangelo still. They got Hannafin, who's a younger guy who can play a long time. They got Theodore locked up, and they'll probably keep extending him. And then as you look at like an Alex Martinez, who he's got a foot problem, he's got a foot issue. So he's been put on IR, which he'll be back for playoffs. He's a vet. He'll know how to get himself ready for the playoffs. And then Mantha, just again, these guys just Vegas is huge again. I mean, they just add another monster to the wing, so he's really good. That'll help. He'll play with that Carlson line, and then you get back William Carrier and you get back Brett Howden. That'll come back for playoffs, and all of a sudden you got that fourth line again. Howden,
that's what you need.
Carrier, Kolasar, and Roy or Wah. I mean, that's probably one of the best fourth lines going into playoffs. Howden slips into that third line. Maybe Doriyevov comes back and he can add some scoring punch. And all of a sudden, again, you got 4 great lines and a really big defensive core. They just got to keep the puck out of the net, which I think they will. I mean, they're a cup team. So they're trying to get to the playoffs. They're not worried about, beating on these teams now, but
they're
just
trying to go back
in.
to back. They're trying to
just,
go back
just
to
get
back.
into the dance. Just get
they
into
line
that
up
dance.
with Vancouver right now in the first round with
love that.
Love that experience versus not a ton of experience.
I mean, Jack Eichel coming back from his injury, he's going to need some time to get back in shape and get his timing. Marshy, I think, is a little nicked up, but he's an animal. He'll be ready to go. So it's exciting out here. Everybody's starting to get pumped. There's a little bit of worry because they've never, they never really had to be on like kind of a cusp if they're going to make playoffs. So there's a little worry out here, but I think they're going to be fine.
Someone in the chat just said right now, Vegas needs Buchnevich.
Ooh.
I don't know if they can fit. I mean, they're pretty good with these cap gymnastics, but man, that's that's really
another guy with the meme with the guy with his cast on his leg when he rips the blanket off in WWF and he stands up, and then that's game 1 for the team. Yeah. Pretty unbelievable what they've been able to do.
I mean, Stone's probably one of the toughest guys in the league. I think we all can say that, but I don't know, man. Like a lacerated spleen or liver or whatever it is. I mean, that's
Singsy had a lacerated spleen, he said. So thoughts and prayers to Singsy's lacerated spleen.
Got that.
You can't mess around with the spleen. I don't think this is like a LTIR at all. Like, he's a little bit injured. He's in tough shape. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play in at least the first round if he plays.
I mean, maybe if they can get deeper, maybe he pops back and adds that punch for a second round matchup. Like if they got to play the Avs in the second round, they're going to need Mark Stone. You're going to need him, his size, his experience. So, but plus 650 to win the West.
Ooh. Yeah, well, tell us. I'm asking all our guests. Tell us your Western Conference final and tell us your Eastern Conference final.
So I don't know where it's going to end up, but I think, you look at Vegas will get there. I don't think Dallas, I don't think they have enough scoring to really get there. I don't think that coach, what I saw in Vegas, I don't think Vancouver's a year away. They're playing great, but 7-game series against a big team. So I got Vegas and Edmonton. And hopefully that allows Whit to, go back home and then come here as well, which would be nice. And then I got on the other side, I got Florida and the Rangers, if that can somehow match up. Yeah. And I think the Rangers get lucky. Shesterkin gets hot. And it's going to be a Rangers VGK final. So we're going Big Apple out to Vegas. Get the big markets.
Huge. Chiclets Air. That's a good one.
There it is. There it is. Direct right to JFK, just down.
I keep seeing people in the chat putting players in. Like someone just said Gudis to Detroit. I'm like, oh shit, that's huge. I wheel into my thing. I look on the internet. It's like fake. Like they keep saying stuff, but I'm getting gullible by the chat. The chat's throwing out ideas. And the trade deadline isn't done until McCrimmon says it's done in Vegas. He likes to sling them. He likes to make trades. He's been active again, hunting down another Stanley Cup, Migsy. Does it feel like it's in the air again in Vegas? And lots happening there, but around this team, does it feel like it's again going to happen?
I mean, it's still the same kind of thing. The practices are packed. I mean, the people are excited. All the games are sellouts. What are you laughing at, Murls?
The chat.
Taco meat? Got a little taco meat.
I haven't seen Migs since he desecrated my girlfriend's bathroom in Knoxville.
Oh no! Don't bring up that story. That story's off limits. No, I think that it's excitement out here. They're all excited. Vegas is center stage right now. We got we got the tournaments out here for NCAA for basketball that are going on over the next week, but it's really just Knights talk.
You also have the under 18s. Is it an under 18 nationals coming there? I talked to a few scouts.
I think so. Next week, you got the Pac-12, the Mountain West. I know right now another NCAA is going. There he is.
Oh, we got breaking news here. So Kevin Weeks supposedly just went on ESPN and reported that the NHL Bruins thought they had a deal in place for Linus Ullmark. and then he nixed it based on geography of where he would be dealt to.
Ooh, wow.
He doesn't want to go to what team would
Detroit?
it be? Who needs a goalie?
Detroit.
Why doesn't he want to go to Detroit? Are we just making that
Long
up?
flight-
Yes, we
long
are.
fl-
No, they need the
Long
goalie.
flights.
Edmonton, maybe.
Oh, they got Skinner.
Gotta
I
go
think they
one of
like
these.
Skinner. Let me look. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look through
Wow.
the teams.
How
I'm gonna
about the
nail
King?
it.
What about the Kings? Doesn't want to go West Coast, California?
Who wouldn't want to go play
Yeah,
for the
you can't
Kings?
turn
though?
that down.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you go-
Kings,
maybe he's not a West Coast guy.
Colorado. No, that's too
Wasn't
big
Timmy?
for Colorado.
Didn't Timmy say he'd nix a trade somewhere because he didn't like the flights? The flights were too long way back in the day. He was like, "I'm not flying long distance." It's like, dude, you're not on Spirit Airlines.
I think it was Chicago. He was supposed to
Was
go
it
to
Chicago?
Yeah,
I remember that.
He's
Was
like,
a
I don't want to
while
be in the West. They won 3 cups.
I was like,
afterwards.
dude, you're on a private jet. It's not 25C on Spirit, where you
Which
got
reminds me, Air Canada, you did it to me again on my last couple travel days. You downgraded my plane. I was a first class ticket. You gave me a shitbox regular plane, and then you don't kick me back the email that says you've been refunded. I have to track your asses down, Air Canada. Air Canada, you're doing it again.
I got trapped up. I got trapped in Pearson on my way to Quebec.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got an 8-hour late. They nixed me for 8 hours because they took us off the plane because it was broken. Then they said, but the next plane coming's too small, so we're gonna have to eliminate people. And I'm with a parent, and I go, $5, it's me. I was one of the 3 people eliminated off the plane or something. It was ruthless.
If Quebec tournament isn't long enough, you had to deal with Pearson, which probably felt the length of the Quebec.
I went up to that like crappy little member thing they have, and I fell asleep in like a phone booth for 2 hours. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Migsy, you got any scoops for us? Believe it or not, there is games tonight.
Yeah.
We need
a goal scorer.
I'm going. I'm going to go Lehkonen for the Avs. On that line. They'll be matched up hopefully against the Kaprizov line or Kaprizov, and they can be a little bit not great defensively. He's also plays the power play, so I think he's going to get out there. Lehkonen, he's plus 165 anytime goal.
No, I see him right now on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 185.
Oh, there goes my eyesight.
Yep, move that bet, move it up, even better for us.
A little shady last night. That they pulled down all the goal scorers.
Because they heard Bunting was
the Bunting trade, so they moved it around. But yeah, I would say Lehkonen's my pick.
Plus 185. That's a great pick. He's out there with McKinnon all the time. McKinnon's getting at least 1 point. And what I like Lehkonen too?
Net front. He sniffs around net front. He's always there.
And then I'll tell you when you can really he sniffs. I caught him last year on a next goal for big money. Was he's out there for the empty net and he sniffs hard for them.
Always.
He goes hard.
He's floating.
He's like me when I played it.
Yeah,
love him. Love the empty net.
To try to get in.
He plays on the wing with Rantanen and McKinnon. Like, get out of here for numbers like that. That was like Bouchard power play point, and those were all we crushed that last year.
Yep.
It was like always. It seems like always the numbers were good. Then they catch on to it. Then they start to move it around. But it's like me and Murls would sniff that one hard. That's a Lehkonen right there for sure.
How's that Germany play going? Sorry to interrupt you, Army.
It was 0-0, which I should have just done the under, but my record on unders is horrendous. But it's a game deciding that it's basically a final.
Yeah. So if you're following the game, it's going to be 0-0. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much fact.
You're munching. You like munching. They're 2-2 right now. That could be a live action at some point.
Yeah, a little live. Yeah, munching. Because if they win, they move up.
The Chushkin's back tonight too. For the big boys. It's in the chat. I don't know if
we should get to my Friday picks. My Migsy's here. We should do my Friday picks.
Okay, and then we'll let Migsy go. Migsy go as it's like 32 minutes till the deadline, boys. We're just rolling along here. Great guest. Vegas Insider, Migsy, 4 plays. And 2 of them are on the EBR menu.
Yep. We just talking about, and that's what reminded me. The Avs 3-way minus 135 right now. I think it's a great play. And then Detroit Red Wings money line minus 135. They've lost 3 in a row back home. What was the exact line? Did I just say was it 135 still on DraftKings Sportsbook? Yeah. And they're getting the Coyotes. I watched the Coyotes last night. They played the late game at home, West Coast, traveling to the Eastern time after. That's a nightmare. So I'm on Detroit. If you really want to get antsy, look for the first period on the wings too. That Coyotes team will be sleepy coming in there. So those are my 2 plays. And obviously I'm always riding with the Vegas Insider on Lehkonen anytime.
Hey, Murl, doesn't Arizona play home tonight?
No, is that home?
They're home.
Yep,
Oh,
home.
boy.
Oop. Whoops.
Go. Let's rewind that.
They
stayed up last night playing.
They were up late last night. Detroit was home sitting at home.
They went up to
sitting
the
on the
DraftKings
hotel
bar to make sure it was okay, make sure what's going on.
Well, you were just down there. How was that Barstool Scottsdale?
So I played that TPC Stadium, no big deal. Parred the 16th, and I drove the green on 17. But that DraftKings bar is legit. Like, you walk in, Murl, stay to the right, kind of by like we used to do, by the soda machines. You stay to the right, you got the best view. Get a little sun in on you. It's nice. It's nice.
Look at these tips from the Vegas Insider.
Always stay to the right.
On the ice, off the ice. We got it all coming in. Oh, Laura's chiming in here.
By the way,
holy shit, we got a Laura.
Oh my God.
Before
you get to that, I got to make up for my mistake. My daughter had the longest 4th birthday in the history of the world yesterday. She woke up at 4 a.m. jet lagged, and we started opening presents. And as the day progressed, my nephews and my parents came over, and that ended at 9 p.m. So I'm not a math guy.
You've been grinding.
That's a long time. And
I think it's still a great, by the way, I'm just saying, I still think it's a great pick. Detroit's just got I think Detroit's got too much offense for Arizona.
Still a back-to-back. I thought that was weird. I was like, wait, they're flying there? I'm like, that's tough.
That's tough.
I should have been in bed instead of watching the Wild in Arizona.
There you go. Staying up late, watching the Oregon game. Ugh.
Oh, but I have another play. I got another play. I wanted to tell Jonny Lazarus because he went to UMass and was recruited by Benny Barr to UMass.
Ooh.
But I'm taking the Maine Black Bears. I think they're at home. They're at home versus UMass. Minus 130. Nothing can be trusted right now. See, that's why this is supposed to be an hour show. Things go off the rails. We stay on too long.
Murray, you don't have that. You don't have the legs under you for these long shows now, like the Chiclets guys. They go on for for hours.
They're at home. Minus 130. DraftKings Sportsbook. Maine Hockey NCAA.
This is so far. This is a no stream. Not one guy had to get up and hose yet. Murls, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, buddy. You've been sitting here the whole time. We're not going. We're not leaving. We're not taking bathroom breaks. We're holding it in. We're legendary. Can I give you the Laura before we let Migsy go here?
Yep. Sorry.
The parlay. McKinnon, 5 shots. 3 shots, Connor. 2 shots, Eriksson Ek. Makar, Heiskanen, Johnston, Hayton, Eberle. Stars 3-way, Avs money line plus 3,159. If I'm reading that correctly. Holy shit, Laura. That's a Laura parlay.
Hey,
look at this. He went full
tarps.
Full deadline tarp.
It's basically playoff time now in Vegas. They got to start winning, get a little momentum, getting into it. The trade deadline will be over when you guys are done. And this is the team that's going to bring back the cup. Army, we will be at that same spot, having drinks, watching them running around with pink Whitneys. And we're trying to say, slow down, Matt. But he's ready. We'll walk back to RA together, talk about it. We'll have a little more pasta in our spot that we had, Army, a little romance. Yeah. So you guys be prepared. Chiclets Air's coming west again to the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 650. Western Conference.
Bring us back.
What a send-off. There he is, folks. The Vegas Insider. The chest hamburger. He's got
to get on your fasting diet, too.
Fasting. Intermittent fasting, folks.
We're gonna start doing a push-up contest between
here he
the Game
is,
Notes guys.
Slick G with he's our super agent, running trades, breaking trades. G, what's up?
No trade to break, but we did just talk about the Linus Ullmark stuff. We got tons of guests lined up here, so let's get to our next guest here. We have RA. Let's talk to RA here.
Sunglasses on. Yep, knew it.
What's up, boys?
Is he in a disguise, like he's getting chased by the police or something?
No, I just outside. I was outside having a little smoke, so I just got my shades on.
Rare, what's up, buddy?
What's up, boys? How we doing? Fun show so far. I've been watching since you started.
It's fun. We've been grinding 27 minutes until the deadline shuts down, then all the Q plays come in. But we've been running the gamut with guests and everything. It's been a lot of fun hitting on some teams. And since we have you on, which is awesome, obviously we'd like to get some of your plays for tonight. But let's talk about your Bs. What do you make of this Ullmark week-C news?
You know what? They do need some more scoring punch, top 6 guy or even a middle 6. And, if you got to give up Ullmark, you got to get at least a top 6 guy back. I mean, they got, what's he signed for another year or two at least after this? I mean, I don't necessarily want to see him get traded. I mean, I'd rather have 2 good goalies, but at the same time, I don't think they need it, especially the way they fucked it up in the playoffs last year. If they powered him, you need a fucking 30-goal scorer. You need a dynamic fucking forward to come in. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. I'm not clamoring for it to happen, but if they do trade him, they better get, like I said, a 30-goal scorer, top 6 guy in return.
Yeah, I agree with that. You don't want to look like the Penguins. We were all upset last night about the return on that. You don't want to lose a goalie like that and not have a great return, because then all of a sudden something happens in the playoffs and then you got your AHL goalie in there.
Yeah.
What do you make of their mind bombing? Like it's official. It's like you versus Biz now. Leafs, Bruins mind bomb. It looks like they're on a collision course for the playoffs. Where's your confidence at? I imagine it's high.
I mean, if we play Toronto, how's it not high, right? I mean, until you slay the dragon, you're not afraid of Toronto until they beat you. It's like we always say, it's like the Red Sox and Yankees until the Red Sox beat them in 2004. I mean, I hope Boston stays in second place. I hope Toronto stays in third. And I'd rather play them in the first round than probably anyone else in the Eastern Conference. Definitely not afraid of them. And if they beat you this year, then hey, about fucking time.
What do you make of?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Murray. I wanted to ask him though. I wanted to ask you about later about the pickup of the big rig and stuff. Go ahead.
No, you can stay on this. Mine's more later about gambling. So stay on the.
I just want to know what you make of the the big rig coming in. Obviously, like he might play, he might not in and out of the lineup, but like good character guy in the room. But like I'm seeing on social media, and you're the Boston guy, you're the Boston rat. You're in there. It's your team. You're at playoff games. You're live streaming. You're getting kicked out of games almost. That's how crazy you are, RA. But I remember Jack Edwards like ripping on, and there was like a feud and like all this stuff's happening. Like the big rig's coming to Boston, man.
Call him a fat bastard basically on the air. It was a 5th rounder, and I think a minor leaguer. I love the move. I mean, he's a, like you just said, he's a character guy, a great guy to have in the room. He'll score the odd goal for you, especially in the playoffs. He's been known to pop at home in the playoffs. I like the move. He might not play every game, like you said, but just having a guy like that in the locker room, like a Biz type guy, keeps everybody loose. I mean, he won 3 cups in a row. I'm huge in favor of this move. I sent him a text already. I said, let me know when you get the town. I'll show you around a little bit if you need some help. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to have the big rig in town. I think it's a good move, and for a low risk, potentially high reward. Just having that presence in the room, and wouldn't be surprised if he scores a few goals this playoffs.
He should go hang out with Chara, and Chara should show him around, not you. I think if he wants to, stay in the good graces,
wants to win,
not go to the wrong side of the tracks, if you know what I mean.
I think that's I think that's a move. I don't know, when we were talking, it was at Fuchs, and he was talking about it. When you kind of know you're playing a team, or you have to beat a certain team, that you get a guy. So that's how you get Pat Maroon. He knows how to beat Florida. When he was down in Tampa, He took care of them all the time. He plays that little like style kind of we were just talking about with Rempe, where he can be tough against those guys and try to quiet down those hooligans in Florida. So I think it's a nice little pickup. It's like you said, what was a 5th rounder?
Yeah,
that's nothing.
In a minor league. Plus, like the fight aspect, they don't really have anyone there. I mean, obviously they had a guy who's not on the team anymore that they thought they were going to use for that in the playoffs. So they do need, a guy to protect the skilled guy. So, I mean, that's another factor as well.
Yeah,
but Bruins fans love it. That place gets bumping once there's a fight in it. I remember the year they won the cup. Do you remember the year they won the cup? Did you go to any games? And their whole thing was just fights up on the Jumbotron. All they would do all game is on the commercial breaks is just show fights, and made the fans complete lunatics. And then the team would come out of the break and score a goal. It was, the Bruins fans were nuts. So
did you just ask me if I went to one of the games of the 2011 Stanley Cup?
I don't never know with you, Rear. You're a guy you never know. Weren't you on Florida last year against the Bruins?
Well, not until they beat the Bruins. Yeah. No, I went to games. Let's see, 3, 4, 6, and 7 of the 2011 Cup. 3 games in Boston, and then I went to Vancouver for Game 7 as well.
Yeah, I knew that.
But he was going to games. He was bragging about going to games in the womb. He wasn't even born, and he says he went to games.
Obstructive view. I was peeking through the belly button.
All right, buddy. Murls, you got to ask him your picks. We got
I just wanted. All right, it's well known you have futures on every team. Like legitimately, how many teams do you have?
All right, no, it's a good question. We'll figure it out right now. Meanwhile, Murls, how is Detroit this fucking cheap of a favorite tonight? What are they? 140?
I'm all about them. I'm still waiting. I'm watching right now, just waiting for them to get a goalie, and then we're gonna hit the submit button.
Well, no, I'm talking about tonight's game.
Yeah, for tonight's game. I don't know. I thought they were at home for some reason, but I'm still on there. I don't know if you heard my picks. I'm on Avs and Red Wings tonight.
I'm on the Wings too. I might make a dime up to a double dime in a second because 140. That's a cheap price. All right, let's see how many teams I have futures on for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
All right, this will be funny. All right, let's see. Rocket Rashad Trophy, Adams, Vezina, Adams, Jack Adams, Vezina, Stanley Cup. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3 on that. And then I got 1, 2, 3.
Boys, as riveting as this is about RA talking about his futures,
RA trying to read.
We have a trade. We have a big trade here. Matt Dumba has been traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
There they go. Get a D. Got the D.
They go get a little fill-in for Sergachev. Dumba, Red Deer Rebel, Western guy. Playing pretty good out in Arizona. He's been pretty serviceable player. He can move pucks. He has a physical edge to him. I think that's like a great little slot in guy for them too. Experience, plays.
If he's not asked to do much, you know what I mean? If he's playing a 5-6 role for a Tampa Bay team, I think that's a perfect role for him.
Or just like solidify a pairing for them, you know?
Exactly.
So be
Don't
a
ask
guy
him to do too much.
Yeah, you know, you got Hedman. He's not going to be Sergachev, but he's going to be okay. Get him in there. He's got some speed. He can jump up. He can score and contribute a little offensively. Can be a little wild card defensively as well with some decision making, but pretty good pickup for them. A team that needed to look at Sergachev, a team that's on the edge of staying in or falling out or what they're going to be, that's played a lot of good hockey. So that's a big pickup for them to fill that hole right there. Slickback G, bringing us the news. Mustache and all. Phone is just rolling for G right now. Thank you very much, G. Thank you, Sean Apuzzo on the back end making this all work. And the trade is to be determined right now. I'm seeing from what Arizona will receive back. That'll be new. A to be determined. That's a new one.
Yeah, we saw the 6 goals. Now we got that. A lot of new stuff going on. Did we get a final number, Rear?
Yes, 11 teams. I have Stanley Cup future on.
Wow,
11.
Yeah.
How many are in the playoffs right now? If it today,
let's see, right today,
third of the league.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 playoffs.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
And payouts ranging anywhere from $9 grand up to $9 grand up to 62.5.
Okay, so DraftKings Sportsbook's in trouble with you of one of those.
Oh yeah, kicking ass and taking names like I did back in 2011. Also, I told you a million times I got Tortorella for Jack Adams. I got 50-1 on him. For Jack Adams.
Keep winning.
Yeah. What's I thought Talk had that locked up, but that's starting to become a closer race, I think, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I got Talk too, but he was only 20-1, so I'd much rather have Torts coming for it.
That's 2 great calls there, Rear.
And and also we're rooting for Thatcher Demko for the Vezina as well. I got him at 33-1 and 28-1. So
how many coaches do you have for the Jack Adams? How many?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, and honestly, I got Brunette, who's been, Nashville's been fucking great lately. Tortorella, Talkett, Andre Turigny, how do you say his name? Arizona, they kind of tanked lately, and Husker in Calgary. So I might have the 3 finalists. If it's
Calgary's making a move, Calgary's starting to come around. That drink looks amazing, Rear. It'll make me go grab a big deal brew.
We're almost off the clock here, Murls.
Friday happy hour.
Friday. 17 minutes to the deadline. 17 minutes. We're gonna keep it going here. We're waiting for trades rolling. We got Dumba to Tampa Bay. Always rumored seemingly to be in trade rumors over the last 7 years. It's crazy. Dumba's name always comes up, heading from the desert to the palm trees down in beautiful Tampa Bay. Pretty good move to go to in a veteran team that's, needed to fill a hole. and they get it done. Brisebois goes and gets a guy. We knew they had something up their sleeves, and they got it. I'm so anxious to see like some of these other moves. Like I kind of have a feeling. I know Migsy said Vegas isn't done. RA, excuse me. What's a team that surprised you right now, or a team that's done the most that you think, wow, like that is like winners and losers basically so far for you, and keeping an eye on these things?
I'd say a team that, well, I guess we could say they surprise you, and it's also about fucking time, is Carolina. I mean, they go out and they get Gensel, and they go and what's his name? Fucking Kuznetsov. I mean, I know he's had his issues lately, but he's still a dynamic player. I mean, those are two guys who can put them over the top. I mean, even just Gensel could put them over the top, and that's been the knock on them. They haven't gone out and made that extra move, and they got these two guys, and I mean, they were outstanding. They played great last year versus Florida, but they couldn't score a fucking goal. And Bobrovsky was a brick wall. I think save percentage was close to 950. Because you look, Freddie Anderson and Ranta, they were outstanding in that series too, but the team couldn't score. But you get two guys that are dynamic players, man. And I don't know, Carolina, if it's nice to see they throw everything in and they're going for it this year. So yeah, I'd say that's the team that was like, oh, okay, they're finally gonna make these moves now.
All right. Thanks for coming on. But before you go, I need your Eastern Conference final and your Western Conference final.
Eastern Conference final will be I gotta go Florida versus Carolina again, and then out west is gonna be Vancouver versus Winnipeg.
Wow, Canadian conference final.
Nice.
You're not scared of Colorado. You're not scared of Dallas. I mean, you're a big Dallas guy too.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's just fucking so many good teams, man. It's so wide open once again.
There it is. Mark them down. That's our ace picks right there, Merman.
Nashville 76-1. I'll be happy.
Not bad.
They get in. You never know.
Bad. All right, there he is.
There he is.
Rear Admiral. He's out of here, and we've got another guest coming in. They're coming hot and heavy. This guy is the king of the internet, king of the people. He's the king of his sports teams. He's wearing his Mets shirt right now. We've seen him forever in a Dolphins jacket, as well as wearing a hat that says hat, but for the New Jersey Devils. Devils super fan, Frank the Tank. Frank, welcome to Game Notes Trade Deadline Extravaganza. What are you thinking? Where are we going?
Devils, of course, I expected them to be active today. Toffoli, I don't know why it didn't work. He put up good stats, but watching him pass the puck, watching his turnovers and his plus minus and his impact on the ice, he almost seemed like if they put him on the line with Jack Hughes, they just didn't mesh well together. He was like a jack stopper. I mean, where Jack Hughes couldn't get points when he was on the same line with him, and it was like it looked like oil and water all year with the two of them. And then Toffoli, he's haphazard. He doesn't hit anybody. I mean,
he's not a physical guy.
He wanted 5 to 7 years.
Speed. He's not super fast, and I think maybe that's where it was like water and oil a little bit to the play with. He still put up good numbers though. What was the fall? What was the fall of the Devils this year with such hype? I'm sure you were excited come into this year, and of course we've seen it progress to the clips that we've seen of you just destroyed where the Devils sit right now. Goaltending, is that the main thing?
Goaltending has been bad. Vanacek last year played above his head, and now we see that he's probably one of the worst goalies in the NHL. And of course, they get Jake Allen, who hasn't been good in 7 years.
I thought Jake Allen was going to go to Colorado as a 2 or 3, just a pure backup, and now that's what the Devils are doing to try to save the season.
There's no saving the season.
No,
season's good done.
Completely given up.
There's no chance of making playoffs.
All
None.
right.
And they're probably not going to make the playoffs next year. I mean,
I've seen you upset, Frank.
Their cap situation is terrible. They've not gotten any salary relief in dumping Toffoli. I've never seen a team that has been softer than this team, where basically Jack Hughes has been beat up upon all year, and they have nobody on the team that responds. They have no toughness. I'm sitting in games, and they're getting six hits a game. 6 hits. I mean, you bump someone off the puck, you get a hit. You get hits for anything. I'm not even talking like hitting somebody. It's like bumping someone off the puck, and teams just skate in and do whatever they want. and then rebound after rebound, and just sitting there and standing there and watching. And then when you have Toffoli on the ice, it's just stagnant. The power play beginning of the season was 45%, and it's just stagnant. Yesterday, the power play looked good. You know why? Because Toffoli didn't play. They put Timo Meier back on the right line, and since played Timo Meier right wing, they've been playing him left wing all year. I mean, it's just they try to put square pegs in round holes. They forgot that they need some toughness and grit. Miles Wood, maybe not a great player, but he's tough and gritty. I mean, they have no grit on the team. The closest to grit they have on the team is Bastion, and Bastion. I mean, he
got Rempade, and then Trubud.
I mean, he just is not tough. It's just there's nobody on his team that's tough. And then you have two kids playing defense, and apparently Luke Hughes hasn't got the note, has forgotten that he is actually a defenseman and plays offense.
Well, he's young. He's young. It's growing pains. I think you're referring to the identity of what worked.
Loss was Dougie Hamilton going down.
Yeah, they had injuries. Hughes been out for extended periods of times. Hamilton, massive injury for them. The captain in there, Shears, missed some time as well at bad times of the year, I feel. I've seen you upset.
Andrew Burnett was also he was bigger for the. I feared losing him, and my fears were realized. Miss Lindy Ruff. I mean, go back to the 90s. He's not the coach for this team.
Yeah, they're a new age team. They're a new age team. You're saying he's old school a little bit.
This has set the team back 5 years this season. They
if
were
Travis Green is
Cup. Now they're like 7 years away.
If Travis Green isn't the guy for the future, who's somebody on your radar?
There's no way Travis Green is the guy for the future.
No, okay,
no way. I mean, the only way Travis Green keeps this job is if they make the playoffs and maybe win a round.
Would you like to see a guy like Craig Berube, a former player, tough guy, maybe not the the new age thing, but the old school, like get these guys to be accountable,
a hard nosed, foot forward with your team right now.
Hard nosed foot forward. Maybe you could get Barry Trotz. I know he doesn't. I know he's GM now, but you get those old coaches who you dangle a coaching opportunity at him. He might not want to be in the front office. I mean, Trotz wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah, we got a goalie trade to announce. A kind of side goalie
Devils?
trade. No,
it's not
Florida.
Still?
Florida and the Penguins link up to swap a couple goalies. Ludovic Weber for Magnus Hellberg. Who was the third string goaltender here. He's like 6'8", great guy. Giant Swede. So there's maybe the first real, Allen and now this for goalie moves when goaltending was such a big question. But I've seen you upset, Frank. We've seen you lose your cool, obviously. But I don't know if I've seen you this solemn, this down.
Does it have something to do with news, boys? Jack Roslovic has been traded from Columbus to the New York Rangers.
Oh,
little center help for them.
There we go.
He's like a little buzzsaw. Roslovic just bounces around. Skill guy. He's in and out.
I mean, what are the Devils going to do this offseason to fix this? I mean, you have Luke Hughes, you have Nemec. There's a great defensive piece, but you need to get someone tough. Are they in cap hell? I mean, can they do anything about it? Goalie? I mean, Jake Allen, he's not the answer.
No, he's just like he's a quick fix kind of thing for like a time of the year where it's just he's just gonna be there. But he's not the
only hope
answer.
the Devils have making the playoffs is if the Flyers choke.
They could, but they seem to keep winning. The Flyers keep rolling.
The Islanders are flying. They're coming for
the
it too.
The wild card is gone. Yep. So
we've got 7 minutes to the deadline now, Frank. 7 minutes.
The hope is the Flyers choke, like the Devils, and the next couple of games they have to play. They have to go to Vegas. They have to play the Rangers. They have to play the Hurricanes tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say.
Yeah,
they're not winning those games.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season from what they were last year to the getting knocked out by Carolina, but beating the Rangers and having this kind of
Yeah.
They stopped being who they were.
Yep. It's been a lost year.
And Dougie Hamilton's loss hurts.
That was the big one. That hurt. Because he took those minutes. Those young guys would have been able to just ease their way into the NHL.
I mean,
it was too much on their back.
Nemec and Hughes are both exciting players. Both have some good like two-way defensemen. Hughes, I mean, Hughes almost is just too offense focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's asked to do too much right now.
Yeah. And
they need some better, I think they just need to find some better veteran role players that can help support what their young core is. You know what I mean? And they've got to build towards that. They
need to get some tough people in here.
Yeah. Some muscle, a little bit of muscle.
There's no muscle on the team. Six hits
not their identity
in an NHL game is embarrassing.
Yeah. It's not their identity at all. Hopefully they can give you a little spark down the stretch here, Frank, and you get to see possibly some playoff hockey. Are they letting you back in the rink? What's happening with that right now?
Well, that was blown out of proportion.
Blown up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They basically said that I need to quiet down. That's basically what they said. They didn't kick me out.
That's fair.
I mean, we had the Lindy Ruff crowd there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's different now. And the march is on for desperation down the stretch, Frank. You look sad.
I mean, they got to get tougher. They got to get tougher. They got to get healthier next year. And that's what they need. Toughness. I mean, that should be number one. Toughness, and they need to get a hard-nosed defensive defenseman.
Yeah.
This offseason.
Yeah. Frank, there it is. Toughness is your mandate, and otherwise, seemingly at a little bit of loss for words for what your team.
I've never seen a softer hockey team than this Devils team.
Yeah. They're the Devils.
We're like every time a puck goes in the corner and it's a battle, they don't come away with the puck.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a rebound from the goalie.
They want to be off the rush, Frank. They're an off the rush speed team that wants to quick strike. They're one and done type of team. They're
beer league hockey. They are. Yep. They play beer league hockey.
You know what that shows me? It shows and how many times did they fall behind this year? How many times did they allow the first goal?
Mm-hmm.
That tells me that they were never prepared.
Of the time.
They weren't prepared to play.
Mm-hmm.
And they had no adjustment, which to me, I had to say, I've rooted for a lot of bad teams in my life. I've rooted for bad, disappointing Mets teams, bad, disappointing Dolphin teams, bad, disappointing Devils team. The coaching job that Lindy Ruff did this season might be among the worst coaching jobs in any sport ever. I think Lindy Ruff, if he was coaching the 1987 Edmonton Oilers, would have them in last place. That's how bad a coaching job he did this year. He couldn't win with the 1987 Edmonton Oilers.
Like 20 Hall of Famers on that team. That's strong, Frank. Well, Frank,
all right,
18 to 19 games left.
Wayne Gretzky playing a muscle position.
Yeah. Wayne Gretzky
and Ronnie McSorley will be the guy playing
Semenko sniper. Yes, Semenko is the sniper. Rest in peace, Semenko. Thank you, Frank, for joining us.
Thanks, Frank. You're the man, legend.
Look at the New Jersey Devils. We appreciate it. There he goes. Frank the Tank, Barstool.
A defeated man.
Legend.
A defeated man.
As solemn as I've seen. As solemn as I've seen. We have another guest waiting in our queue.
This guy, he's in the right spot. He's not in New Jersey. Right off the slopes.
Life is good. John Michael Liles, my old teammate, NHL defenseman for a lot of years, covering Colorado Avalanche. All smiles in Colorado recently, and how could you not when you're living the life like this man does up there? Holy shit, Johnny! The Avalanche look like they're from another planet already, and then they're making like massive fit moves for their team as well.
Is the chat serious? Hurdle to Vegas? Sorry to interrupt there.
Whoa.
I'm seeing it like
I know.
5
Don't
or
get
6
fooled
times.
by the chat, man. The chat
but I seen it 5 or 6 times. That can't be true.
Colin Miller to the Jets. Colin Miller from New Jersey to the Jets. I'm seeing that. Yeah, Hurdle to Vegas.
Boys, we have some breaking news. Thomas Hurdle has officially been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Wow. Well, they're trying to go against Colorado. They're trying to.
Hey, and this is via Bob McKenzie. Bob McKenzie came out of retirement to break this one. You know it's got to be legit.
The Bob father, he's back with a massive hurdle trade. That's unbelievable. It's Vegas is answering. All these teams in the West are trying to answer. Colorado went out and made a bunch of sick ass moves. What's your feeling right now, Johnny?
I mean, I like it. I've been texting with Brian Wilsey, who's one of their player development guys, and he loved it. Middle stat. They've been looking for that second line center since Nas left, right? And it just hasn't worked out thus far. But I mean, now you have a legitimate young second line center. You've got control on that as an RFA, skilled, and you slot him behind Nathan McKinnon. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like the kid's he's gonna thrive. I mean, everybody was wondering how Nas would do in Colorado. It took him a little while to get his feet going, but then he crushed it that last year with Colorado, and he was a difference maker in the playoffs, and that's what they hope that could be.
Après hockey analyst, après ski, après hockey analyst, John.
This is my response to Whit's outfit earlier.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So this is my Colorado
the Avalanche
outfit.
gear. The Avalanche.
Exactly.
Watch
I'm
out,
right
Avalanche.
In my office.
Avalanche warning right here from Johnny.
I'm an Avs guy. I was at camp there when I was number 29, as everyone knows. I'm talking about this young kid all the time, and Malinsky. Tell us a little more about him. I've seen him play a few times, and we think he tries to be like Makar. He kind of like built him in a lab to be like him.
He looks a lot like Kale on the ice, the way he moves, the way he, kind of a similar stick pattern, and the way he handles the puck. And obviously knows Kale Makar, right? Like that guy's just a freak with what he does on the ice night in and night out. But Malinsky was a great free agent signing out of college, out of Cornell. And same guy, Brian Wilsey, and his team had been looking at him for a while. And really good signing. He's a guy that's played, a few games here and there. And I mean, the Avs are deep on the back end when you look at it. So when guys go down, they've got these guys that can plug in, and he's been one of them. He's been a really, really good story this year. Fun guy to watch. And there's times when you're watching a game and he makes a move, and you're like, wait a minute, that looked like Makar, but not the same number, not the same name. And so that it's cool because he gets to watch Kale Makar day in, day out in practice, and try and model his game after him when he has the similar look as well.
And we saw in the chat today, it said Nichushkin's back tonight. Can you confirm that?
I mean, it's been kind of hit or miss since he got back with the team, and it does seem like he's going to be back tonight. It seems like most of those guys that they got are going to be in the lineup, so it could be a fun game to watch when you got Duhaime going against his former team with Minnesota, and you've got these new new players injected into the lineup. I mean, I love what they did. They got grittier, with Duhaime and Trennan. Trennan's just an absolute monster out there. We played against, Avs played against him in the first round a couple of years ago, and that guy hits everything. And that's, that was kind of, I'm not gonna say they were missing it, but that's what you love going forward, right? Like you love getting those guys that are just going to be, impactful on the third and fourth line in the playoffs. And your top end is pretty secure when you look at those guys. Even the Zach Parise signing, I thought was a great signing. Like, what you're going to get from him. He's out tonight. I think, day to day, he kind of took an awkward.
Kind of looked like he hurt his knee or something the other night. He came back, but it definitely was worrisome looking. He went down the runway, came back. Message in the chat right now. A guy by the name of Kyle Keefe. He said, "You guys have the best broadcast, broadcast of all time."
I'm very sweat out right now. I apologize. I got to adjust. Keeper is on the.
Keeper's in the chat.
Yeah, he's in the chat. I told him I was going on. He's like, "You better say something nice about me, or I'm going to throttle you." Yeah. So he's. I mean, he is the heart and soul of Altitude in the broadcast. He's been with with Altitude 27 years. I mean, he's awesome at what he does, and for me, getting to work with him and Rycroft and Moj and now we got Jan Stasny joining. We got Johnny Mitchell. I mean, we've got such a great crew, and when the team's as good as Colorado's been the last few years, it's definitely easy to go to the rink, more often than not.
Who'd I see you were on with the other day? What was Detroit Red Wing, Colorado Speedster? Was he with you?
Oh, Helmer.
Helm.
Yeah,
Darren Helm. I don't know why his name blanked me. That was him beside you. He looks good. He looks like he can still play.
Well, so he's playing in our alumni games, and so he's got 3 alumni games under his belt, but he's got no goals, so he's starting to sweat a little bit. We got another alumni game in Breckenridge here in a few weeks, and he's due, but he can still skate. He's still in great shape. He's an awesome guy. We did the little wine cave from the road at a casino, Monarch Casino in Blackhawk outside of Denver, and Helmer came up and did it with me. So yeah, it's been cool. I mean, they've involved the alumni a little bit as well, which has been super fun. Kyle Quincy and myself work on that a ton, and yeah, it's just awesome to get those guys together.
Unreal.
Talking about the
you guys
wine
have a
cave,
fun broadcast.
What's the number one choice for you in there?
Oh man, it depends on the night, but I'm a big like Continuum guy, like anything, Napa Cab. I mean, as cliche as that sounds, like I love that stuff. I mix it up. We've got Malinsky's uncle is a winemaker. He's got a winery in Argentina, so he sends Kiefer and I wines.
Love this kid even more now,
dude. It's unbelievable. He's like, hey, you guys got a couple boxes coming to your houses and things like that, dude.
I've been pumping this
awesome.
kid's tires. You need my address to send to him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll send a clip of this to him. We'll see if we can get you some wine head your way, Murls.
Yeah. Johnny, I want to ask you. It's great seeing you, by the way. I love seeing your work as well. Great teammate when I played with you. Loved you. Who are you scared of a little bit? Who are you scared of with, in the West as some of these teams start to add guys? What's the one team that kind of freaks you out maybe a little bit?
Man, I don't know. I mean, Winnipeg to me is dangerous. I just, when you look at them, but I mean, everybody seems to be loading up. Colorado kind of got the ball rolling earlier in the week, and then now everybody's loading up, and now all of a sudden it's kind of become a bit of a gunfight. To me, like maybe not in the West, but Florida scares the absolute like bejesus out of me. Yeah. Like they're mean, they can score. Like they play the right way. When you look at their lineup, like they're really, really, really good. And so, just knowing like Matthew Tkachuk and those guys, like they lean on you hard, right? And they'll break you. And that's what I worry about. The Ivan Drago, like I'm here to break you. But the Avs, I think, are positioned well. Nathan McKinnon's playing like every year. We're like, oh, this guy can't play any better. And now, I mean, like every year he elevates his game. It's like you have him and Makar, and then like the other guys on the ice are like, well, nobody's even covering me because you got 2 on McKinnon, sometimes 3, and you got 2 on Makar sometimes. And so it's like, I mean, the amount of tap-ins, like playing with Kucherov sometimes, right? Like Kucherov draws so many guys to him, but that's the way Nathan McKinnon's playing this year. He's elevated his game to another level. And I mean, now that they've got that, that second line center, Nichushkin coming back, look out, because Nichushkin makes everybody that he plays with better as well. And he was having the best season of his career before everything, went down. So if he could jump right back into where he was, I think the Avs are dangerous and could be a team that makes a heck of a run.
They're the fastest, most aggressive, high-paced team for me that I watch right now with those freaks. And McKinnon, 109 points now, leads the NHL. He's from another planet. They set up on the power play, those 3 guys around the outside with Rantanen and Makar. It's maybe the scariest thing in the NHL right now. And Edmonton's fans are going, oh, what about Connor and Leon? Yeah, they're really good, but it's just, I don't know. These guys are just aliens. These guys are aliens right now. And they added depth. They added little pieces everywhere and filled some holes that they needed to do.
Play any way you want to play. If you want to try and run him over, like Nate will run you over, right? Like when you watch like some of the guys that have tried to hit him throughout the course of the season, like very rarely does he get knocked over. A lot of times he gives better than he gets. And he's not afraid to go into those areas that are tough areas. And a lot of times he comes out with the puck and he's going to make something happen. And, you want to play a speed game. I mean, maybe I would say Connor McDavid's probably the only other guy that, maybe can play that freakish speed game with him. And then, you want to play a physical game. He can absolutely play a physical game.
I'm trying to keep an eye on the trade tracker here. Sorry, Murls, I'll let you go now. It's 8 minutes past 3. So we're into the queue. We're into the after hours portion here so far. Go ahead, Murls.
I was an after hours trade from Carolina to Boston one time.
Yeah, were you?
Oh, yeah. I was sitting in the training room on an off day, and Ron Francis came in. It was like 10 minutes past 2 or whatever. And Wisniewski's sitting next to me. He goes, what's wrong, Ronnie? You couldn't trade Johnny? And Ronnie Francis goes, can I talk to you in the hallway? And Wiz is like, no! Hey, we traded you to Boston. I was like, It was like priceless moment.
Oh, that's unreal. Yeah, so I'm a huge Avs guy. I was able to pack maybe 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants because all my kids' stuff. but I did get my Avs jersey in there because I plan on going to the Western Conference Finals or the Finals.
Yes. Yeah.
Only thing concerning me is the goaltending. Should I be worried or we're fine there?
Well, so what I'll say about that is, I mean, Georgiev, he's played. I mean, he leads the league in wins, right? And part of that is he's got a good team in front of him, but he steps up. And the other thing is, I know the Avs were looking at a backup goaltender. Justus Annunen has played unbelievable for the last month or so, and I think for the Avs, it kind of allowed them to say, well, we can maybe not go shoot for that number 2 goaltender. If there's a third tier guy, maybe we throw a pick for him or something. But Annunen, big, calm, really looks comfortable. Peter Budaj's the goaltending guy for the Avs, with the Eagles. And I didn't know he's done a lot of work with him. And I think they really are comfortable with him in that role at this point in time. And the way he's played down the stretch, he earned that backup role. And, Georgiev, I still think, I mean, he's a tremendous goalie. Like I said, leads the league in wins. And, he gives them a chance. There's definitely been some games where he's stood on his head in the first period and a half until the guys got their legs going.
You guys won it with Kemper. I mean, he was no one really to write home about an NHL goaltender, but and then Georgiev just has to be good. He just has to give his team a chance. He just has to be there at the right time. And you guys are pretty stacked right now. Pretty interesting seeing what's been happening today and through this year. And stay tuned because Colorado might be locked in for a mile-high run out in Denver right now. Get you off the slopes and get you back in there. You're locked in. You'll be rolling till June, buddy. There goes the golf game covering the Avs all the way.
I love it. I love getting a late night text from Whit that he's coming in for a game and he's got a tee time at 8 a.m. I got to drive down at 5 a.m. to play golf with him.
Yeah, there you go.
And don't forget that was on his wedding anniversary. His wife was out.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
How he does it is unbelievable.
Dude, that guy is one of a kind. That's for sure.
Well, say hi to the family, buddy. Appreciate
you too,
the time having us on. Thanks for the Colorado insight.
Yeah.
And keep up the great work with your awesome team there. You guys got a good group.
Fellas.
Always entertaining. Thanks for everything, buddy.
All right.
There he goes. What a great teammate he was. I love playing with him in Toronto when I was there. Great
I had a couple
teammate.
Camps with him.
Colorado
he's high
end
for sure. And I think I might have been in Carolina's camp with him before I left. I feel like.
Really, he's high end though. He's high end.
He's awesome.
He says he likes the wine. He likes the those cabs and all. He's only doing the high end. He does the high end.
That's me. I go cheap. I go second cheapest off the list. So I'm not that guy. But then I learned. There's a little tip for the chat. Then I learned all the restaurants were onto that. So they started making the second cheapest worse than the cheapest. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just order the cheapest. It's actually the second worst, which I like box wine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So we officially have the return on the hurdle trade.
This is crazy.
It is
to me.
the first in 2025 that they promised to Calgary in the Noah Hannafin trade. So it's the first in 2025. David Edstrom, who is Vegas's first round pick in 2023. There's a 17% salary retention on Thomas Hertl. So that'll be at 6.75 AAV. And then a third round pick in 2025 and a third round pick in 2027. I love that deal for the Vegas Golden Knights.
I see it in the chat. I saw in the chat. This might be the sneaky big time deal of the day today, just because Hertl,
I think so.
But I saw in the chat people are saying investigate the Hertl trade. What a joke. People are going crazy about Vegas right now in this move, in this trade of the Hertl in the queue.
What is there to investigate though?
I don't know. They're just they're mad about that they got this player that's like a legit, he's big, he can skate like a horse. He can score. He's like an impactful player. You put him in there. I mean, it's crazy.
Have you ever seen they want to investigate? Have you ever seen a salary retention like that? I mean, 17% retained over 6 years. I don't know if I've ever seen something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What is that? So what is that?
There's always one thing that happens. There's always one guy that was on nobody's radar that somehow it moves.
Because you would think it's unmovable because of his salary and everything, right? That's why you just everyone's tight, everyone's strapped. You have to be a player for a player move. This is
so he has an 8.1 cap hit. So they got that down to 6.75. That's pretty awesome to have Thomas Hertl.
Yeah.
He's an elite player to have him at 6.75 for 6 more years. Vegas they can't be beat.
Jesus. And everybody agrees to go there. Everybody waives the no trade. Yeah. Nobody gives any problems. We'll
the deadline isn't done. The Golden Knights are never done until McCrimmon decides he's done. And he might still not be done. The league says, okay, 3:00's the cutoff. McCrimmon says, fuck you. I'm making more deals.
Fuck your cutoff.
Fuck the trade deadline. I'll fucking still make trades after the deadline. McCrimmon's a slinger, man. He's just
I see in the chat 96,000 people here, Army, for us. That's pretty good. I want to thank everybody. That's what I saw in the chat. If it's in the chat, it's got to be real.
We're actually closing in on 100K here, but I actually have some more news. So I believe Murls or Army, one of you guys had this correct. Linus Ullmark waived he next to trade to the LA Kings. You guys were right.
Oh.
Why would he do that?
He
just loves swinging. He loves
it wasn't me. It might have been Migs even. There's LA.
No, we said it.
Who waves? Yeah, I think was it you? It wasn't me.
I don't know.
And you were like, who waves? It was Migs. And he's like, who? And then you were like, yeah, nobody says no to LA. He really did. Wow.
Apparently. I wonder who that deal was for. There were talks of PLD Ullmark switch, which I would hate for the Bruins. I would fucking hate that, but we'll see.
Wow. I don't know. Why would he do that? I just wonder why he would do that. I'm just thinking, I guess he likes Boston. It's a connection. He loves hugging Swayman. He loves the feel. He loves
closer
the vibe.
to Sweden. LA's too far, but there's tons of Swedes that live out in LA. That'd be fun spot.
You know who we could ask? We could ask the lovely, the handsome Barstool Chief.
Oh, we got him. The Chief.
That's an intro. Appreciate that, G.
I thought we were saving you for the draft special, but I guess
I feel so left out. I'm just
you're a lottery guy.
All these trades going down, and you just wanted part of the action. I would have been like, are we the third team retaining some cap? Let's have some fun. That's all I had to do. We didn't even do that today. So
yeah, you just want action. You just want to say okay, and then you want to have something in your mind to like mull over of what that's going to do for the future or little steps. You wanted to be involved. You wanted
I wanted to write a blog. Give me something to blog. Yeah.
Well, nothing moved. What I want to ask you about your baby boy.
Yeah.
Your baby boy. How would he look? What's your impressions of him, the injury and all, and so far through his first twirl around the sun in the NHL? He's been fun to watch, man.
He's been great. He's probably, I was a little bit worried about maybe, smaller player, 18 coming in, adjusting the NHL. He stepped right in like it was no problem. They need to get him some help. That would be nice. But I think he's been better than advertised. Seems like a good kid. I like the fire I see from him. If he's taking whacks, he's pissed off on the bench if he doesn't score. He's got a little bit of that, like kind of maybe that personality might drag guys into the fight as he gets a little bit older here. So I love seeing that. But yeah, they need to get him some help this summer. Yeah. So that's
like him and Kurashev. It's like him and Kurashev. That was like, and Foligno a bit.
Yeah, I like Kurashev too. I just don't like him on the top line. To me, he's a guy who plays further down your lineup. But yeah, it's been a drag. I'm ready for the regular season to be over. I just want it to be done. I don't want to watch the Blackhawks anymore. I want playoff hockey. All these moves today got me excited for April. And I've been watching you guys for the last hour. So good job to you guys. It's been fun.
Thanks, bro.
Talking Bedard and Kurashev, I happen to notice our buddy Commodore. He comes out with the green jacket. He follows the Masters. They're both the top two guys. Is that concerning at all? Do you notice that they are like terrible defensively, or is it just part of they're a bad hockey team this year?
It's not even really an NHL roster, which is, it's kind of sad to say, but they got a lot of guys who probably would not be in the league if they were in the other organizations. So it is what it is. As soon as like Taylor Hall and Anthony Siu and Connor Murphy and all those guys went down, you lost any hope. And Bedard for 8 weeks, you lost any hope of being respectable. So it's just about counting those ping pong balls now. That's really what we're here for. So I'm hoping the cavalry's coming. Like I mentioned, all those guys will be back next year that have been out injured. You got Frank Nazar come up. And I hope they're active this summer. I hope I would give a 2-year deal to Stamkos, be like, here's $12 million a year. Not my money. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Get him in here, get him some help, some kind of front-loaded short-term deal. And let's try to please just be something I can watch on a Wednesday night when it's not -15 in Chicago. That's all I really want.
That's enough about Chicago. That's enough about Chicago.
I tried to get Pettersson there. I tried to get Pettersson for you. It didn't work.
Oh yeah,
I was drooling. I was drooling over it. Yeah.
Were you drinking the Kool-Aid on that one? Did you like it? I believed it. I thought it was real.
And Army had Nylander. We were talking Nylander and Pettersson teaming up.
Yeah, that would have been nice. They have the money for it. They have the money.
That's why they were one of them, because they have the money and the nice city and the direct flight to Sweden.
I got a trade I just seen come across. Connor Dewar from Minnesota to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Dewar's like a shot blocker. He's pretty tough. He plays depth lineup stuff. Like, he just does the hard things. He's like a little battler beauty, kind of like that Duhaime. They're kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. So Leafs go and get an extra guy down in the bottom of their lineup to come in
6. That'll be nice.
Yeah. Bruins will smack.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, let's talk about some other stuff around the league here. Like, Vegas is obviously making a ton of news right now with the big hurdle trade plus others, and Mantha and Hannafin. Like, how do they do it? Craziness. Who's your big? Who are you watching right now? What are you looking at right now? What's surprising? Because I love Colorado. I love what they've done. Just a monster team. They play at a pace that just hard to see and with other teams. But I mean, there's lots of good teams right now.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that trade, the Middlestat trade specifically? They've been looking to replace Kadri for forever. I don't feel like Middlestat's that guy. He'll help him, but he's not. He doesn't have that jam, that edge that Kadri gave him for the playoffs. Do you like? Does that move give them enough as a second line center?
I was worried about that too. He kind of reminds me of Newhook. Was in there, what they tried to do, but he was kind of too soft and small. Middlestat, again, he's small and a little soft, but he's more skilled. So I think it's going to be okay. They got those other guys now. They picked up Trennan. They picked up Miles Wood. They got enough other guys with the grit. Putting a guy like Nichushkin there, big, gritty. I think that can insulate him enough. But like you said, I mean, Kadri was perfect fit.
Yeah, he's a playoff guy. I like Vegas. I tweeted the other day that I think there's 4 teams that I like that I would put a future on, and that was before they did all the moves. I don't understand their cap. I don't. It's like it's like they do it in Bitcoin or something. Like it's this whole other scale. That
McCrimmon doesn't care. It doesn't exist. He does what he wants.
I think he traded his 2030 first round pick today at some point. Like he can do whatever he wants, but they also strike me as like a light switch team. I know you guys are talking like can't really keep the puck out of their net right now. Yeah. Something tells me that calendar turns to April. They're just going to be locked in and ready to beat the fuck out of people. And like you're talking about Hannafin, he's this big horse. He can skate. He's got offense. That's every other defenseman on their team too. Like they just print them in a factory. These 6'4" guys that can skate. So I like Vegas. I like Florida. I feel like Dallas hasn't gotten a lot of love on today.
No one talks about them.
Yeah, I really like Dallas too. I feel like they've got everything it kind of takes. I love Heiskanen as a number 1 defenseman. Like I think Dallas could surprise some people too. I'm looking forward to Dallas.
Great goaltending. Plenty of guys that can score. You're not relying on 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah, they just had this Stankoven come up too. That's like lighting it up, young kid. It's like getting a good player at the deadline too. So. Maybe we should talk about them a little more.
Yeah, and I feel like they have that right mix of vets and young guys too. Like there's like the roster balance is there. You have enough experience, but you got young legs. Like I would be very nervous about playing them in the playoffs.
Like they're hard to play against. They're in your face. They play a tight game plus ability to score. Plus they've got good defenders and can keep the puck out. So it's hard. They play a hard game.
Yeah.
And
they got playoff guys like Rupe Hintz. I swear he turns into a different level of player in the playoffs. So he always scores big goals. He's always involved in stuff. So I really like Dallas in the West too. Dallas and Vegas, I think, would be my Western Conference final.
Like that. DraftKings coming on board with us. They're right there, black and green colors.
Oh,
a big year for DraftKings and the Stars.
We went to the
bets with that all spring.
Yeah, we went to the DraftKings sportsbook that's attached to Wrigley a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that. It's sick.
Place is heaven. Like I'm going to be once March Madness and the NHL playoffs starts, I'm going to be living there because they did that perfectly. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, I went by it. I was in Chicago and the Penguins were there, and I went for lunch the one day. I think you guys were doing the shooting competition.
Oh yeah,
the free throw. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you texted me.
I was there. I texted. I reached out to you. I said I'm coming to town, and you guys were just finishing that or busy with
I'm
that.
on hour 36 of trying to get
you should have went in, Army, made a couple shots.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Oh, from Saskatchewan, buddy. Like I ain't shooting hoops.
Oh no, do you shoot like RA?
No, better than RA. Jesus,
like
no chance. Not even close to Mantis. That guy was just like blew my mind. What I saw him just draining.
Yeah,
absolutely insane. But that setup there, I drove by at that DraftKings bar setup outside, right outside the stadium. They're doing a lot of work to Wrigley outside there. It looked like when I was there. Got a little
I don't know. It's the last 10 years they bought up all the land around that area.
Yeah,
so it's all just nice restaurants, beautiful hotel. The DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a great place to be. That's actually right kind of where I live. I live like a 10-minute walk from Wrigley Field.
Oh, you're right down in there?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
We'll stay
there's
at
some
your
great
place. Winter
come
Classic.
Come on over. You guys can
sleep on the couch.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah. The second bedroom's open. I'll get some air mattress in there. We'll have a nice time.
I love it, buddy. Thanks, Chiefy, for hanging with us. Murls, you got your questions for him there?
What did I have? I know you're big on the prospects every year because your team's always in it. Celebrini
around, yeah.
Celebrini confirmed #1, especially the season he's had.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna get Celebrini. Like,
I'm trying to manifest it. I just play that Tankathon lottery simulator every day until I get the Hawks, then I exit out. So yeah, Celebrini. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of McKinnon too. He might not have that top gear that McKinnon has, but similar stature, all the offense, competitive everywhere, kind of a bulldog.
Yeah.
Kind of a perfect complement to number 98 here, if you ask me. So like that can be your foundation.
17 years old only too. So imagine.
It's crazy. Just get him up. This is what I mean. You get Celebrini, you bring Nazar up, you sign Stamkos, maybe you bring back Patty Kane, and all of a sudden it starts. Your top 9 doesn't look that bad. I like what Buffalo did in that trade too, though. I've always been a big Bo Byram fan. If he can stay healthy, their top 4 going forward is Samuelson, Owen Power, Dahlin, Jokiharju. Like that decor, and now Bo Byram. That's 5 young, very good defensemen. That I feel like we always say this about Buffalo, but they have. It seems like they have pieces that as that Eastern that division turns over a little bit. These guys, Tampa and Boston, get older. Buffalo's not in a bad spot.
Absolutely, buddy. I don't know what we got now or what we got coming up. Murls usually asks.
Yeah, I need
conference finals.
Yeah, I need conference final on each side, and then you're a gambler like myself, so I'm gonna need a pick for you for tonight.
Yeah,
the NHL slate, or even if you got something else, college basketball, I'll ride it.
I promise I don't have college basketball.
All right,
I promise you that. I like Vegas and Dallas in the West, and I think I'll go Florida, Carolina in the East. I don't love Toronto. I don't love Boston.
I don't love the Rangers.
I don't trust the Rangers. I feel like it's Florida is, they're in a race by themselves. I would be surprised if they didn't come out of it. And then tonight, I love Detroit tonight. So
yes,
I think that's the play. I'm taking them in regulation for plus money. This is one of those ones that it's like, if it's too good to be true, then something's wrong. And I just haven't sniffed it out yet, but Detroit in regulation plus 115. I'll take
also me and RA both are on that play, so it could be. I also thought they were at home. I thought Arizona had to travel last night.
I was watching that.
I'm on no sleep.
Yeah, well, you got the soccer brain on. The soccer brain, the home team is listed on top. So that's where you got they tricked you. That wasn't your fault.
But they're in the mullet. It's Detroit. It's do or die time. Look at their positioning. You can't come into the mullet, even though they got some skilled, speedy, okay guys in Arizona. I mean, this is like a must win, have to win game.
Yeah,
and they got to keep rolling. They got to roll.
Yeah, I think, and I want, like, this is sacrilegious for a Blackhawks guy to say, I'm ready to have Detroit be relevant, be back in the playoffs. I feel like that new stadium has never had a playoff series. That's absurd to me. So I want them to get in. So yeah, you're right. They've lost 3 in a row. This is a place where you got to put 2 points on the board. So I hope Detroit they'll get it done. They'll get it done.
This might be the play of the week. This might be this turn into play of the week.
You know what?
They have to win.
I might bet it again.
Yep.
There he is.
Yep.
Our guy, the Chief.
Great to see
you,
Chief.
He joins us talking Blackhawks and NHL, and he goes against the Blackhawks grain and is loving Detroit right now. So amazing to see. Amazing guests we had, Murls. How did you do your first trade deadline extravaganza? You're jet lagged. You made it work. You got birthday decorations behind you still. Family stuff's going on.
17-hour birthday party for my daughter yesterday. Yeah, it's been a
Unreal.
grind, but now it's done. Friday deadline. Now we can just dig in, find some future bets on these teams, who we're going to see make the run. That's why I made sure to get over here for this March and April. Just the college hockey playoffs are starting tomorrow. We got the NHL deadline. Now we're in the crunch time. This is the best time of year to be here.
It is. Fights are picking up in the NHL. The competes picking up. It's the deadlines, like everything's happening. It's so exciting right now. DraftKings on board with us today, Murls. Unbelievable. Our picks were out. The chat was lively. And believe it or not, I think we had 100,000 people.
That's sick.
Watching our trade deadline extravaganza. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the people clicking on. Thanks for joining us, me and Murls. Thanks to all our guests. I can't remember going backwards to forwards to backwards, but thank you to everyone for joining us. You got one more thing, Mur?
No, Army can't. We can't lose our way. We're a pick show here. I got to rip through my picks for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
For the people. All right. So we'll get Saturday. There you go. 4 games. I got Canes money line versus Jersey. Get to see all their new toys. We got Bruins 3-way versus the pathetic Penguins. That's an EBR rule number 2. Bruins day game just adds on. The Penguins are a beaten horse. Next one up, New York Rangers 3-way versus the Blues. Rangers, couple new toys as well. I like that. And then, Vegas Wings over 6.5. That was before all these pickups. That thing might be 9.5. Vegas with all these guys, but I love that over. That finishes up Saturday.
There they are. Puzo was bringing them down the thing. We got Sunday games now right here. 5 games. Murls, you got 2 of them on Sunday.
Quick 2. Maybe we'll add by the time we get there. It's a little hard to predict, but Oilers 3-way. Sorry, Army. Got to fade our Penguins again. Love McDavid, Draisaitl. I love that they lost last night because now they're going to make sure to take care of the rest of the road trip. And Islanders 3-way against the Ducks. Islanders are hot, 5 in a row. They're chasing that last spot. I'm an Islanders guy since I was a kid, so I love them. That's it for Sunday. I'll add more on Twitter and Instagram and all that. Tonight, we got Avs, Red Wings, and Lehkonen anytime goal scorer from our Vegas Insider. In Maine hockey, NCAA.
Unbelievable. 2 hours and 31 minutes we went on the trade deadline extravaganza. We didn't know what it would be, but it was awesome. Thank you for joining us. G, unbelievable. We wore suits today. G went slick back with the mustache. Unbelievable. Popping in and breaking trades, giving us the news, keeping this thing rolling. It was just such a fun day. People in the chat giving us insights. So talk about my team. No, talk about my team. And I think we covered a lot of the more exciting teams around the league. Good luck to everyone with your teams the last 18, 19 games of the season here before the playoffs. And thank you, Shauna Puzo. I guess that's it, Mer?
Yeah, DraftKings. Get over to DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook, daily fantasy, all the games, everything. Use code Chiclets. Amazing stuff. Thank you, DraftKings.
The Spittin' Chiclets Game Notes Trade Deadline Extravaganza. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you. Good job.